So welcome everybody to Real Estate Principles. My name is Bryan Collins. I am a trainer here. I'm also a realtor, an active realtor. I have deals going right now and clients that are relying on me, but I also love to teach and train people and show what is possible out there. Somewhere out there is Robert Patterson. He is my team leader, and he will be also speaking here for just a minute because some of you guys are going to be here in the Victor Valley office, and he is a Keller Williams ambassador anyways. So regardless of where you're going, our words and our training and the culture of our company all translates anywhere in the country. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here so I can bring up my is it? Okay. Do that. And then everybody, I am going to mute everybody just so that it is a little quiet while I'm talking, and feel free to talk. If you do have a question, I'd love for you to either raise your hand or wave at the screen. I'll be trying to pay attention. You can send a chat, any questions into the chat box. I will definitely be answering questions from the chat box. But if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, and I'd be more than happy to answer anything that you've got. Most of your answers will be, or most of your questions will be answered in this little show we got here. So feel free to, ask questions. I got started in real estate in 2015. I got my license through the school. I took my 3 courses. I studied like crazy for my exam. And I really wish I had a program like this because I feel like I wouldn't have had to study quite so hard, but I did, and that's the way it works. I've only been with Keller Williams before. I interviewed 3 or 4 different brokerages. When I got started and Keller Williams had the culture and the people, I walked in, I feel like I didn't feel uncomfortable even a little bit when I got into my office, and I knew it was going to be my home, and I don't have any plans of changing that ever. So I am married and I got kids, and you'll see a picture of them here in a minute. I am an ALC member, which means that I am on the Agent Leadership Council, which is basically like the board of directors for my market center. You could be on the ALC if you wanted to. Typically what happens is you're able to, on the ALC, what you're allowed to do, what you can do is you help shape and grow your market center by, helping out with trainings and, just kind of figuring out the day-to-day business of real estate and the market centers here. So it's something that you can do as well. Usually it's reserved for people who, are really into their, into their jobs, into real estate. And someone's, there we go. Yeah. So the ALC is a good time. It's like I said, it's like the board of directors for your market center. You're able to help shape your market center and the way that it goes. You work with leadership and you work with the owners and all that good stuff. So it's a lot of fun. Market center technologist, also known as tech coordinator or the director of technology, whatever you want to call me. I help out people get into the technology of Keller Williams. We have an end-to-end system platform called Command that makes your life as a real estate agent so easy. It's a CRM, it's a marketing platform, it's the entire package, and it's one of those things that you got to dive right in. You got to start using it. So I help people out set up with that and get to know it and use it. And I train other people on how to do that as well. So I'm the instructor of this real estate school. So you're going to see my face twice a week for the next 3 months. And, that's what it's going to be like. You're going to hear me talk a lot about all of these things. Some of the stuff I'm really passionate about, other stuff, we will get through it together. So, this is my team leader, Mr. Robert Patterson. He is available, and I'm going to go ahead and let him speak up, and you can unmute yourself, Robert, and take it away.
Hey, everybody out there. Just want to say hi and welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, okay? It's a process. It's a day-to-day endeavor. Do take it one day at a time. Try not to be overwhelmed with it. It can be that way from time to time, but know that you're definitely at the right place at the right time. You've got a great instructor that's going to be able to lead you and guide you. He's been through many, many transactions, and he's going to be able to help you get your license. Without a license, it's hard to go to the next step, and that's why you've signed up. Here at Keller Williams, just want to let you know that you have the support here at Keller Williams. We're the nation's largest real estate company. We're an international company. We have offices all over the world, and we are a world-class training company. What does that mean? You may know business, or you may have a business mind. When I got into real estate 15 years ago, I had a business mind, but I did not have a real estate business mind. The reason why I have only been with one brokerage in my life, and I will only ever be with one brokerage in my life, is because this brokerage, Keller Williams, has the tools that you need to get you to whatever level you want to go to. If that's 1 deal a month or 10 deals a month, quite frankly, it doesn't matter. The systems and models are in place for you to be able to get where you want to go in your real estate career. Our culture is very simple. We're here to support you, guide you, direct you, and help you accomplish your goals. You have our commitment. I know Bryan is committed to that. I am committed to that. If you're not in the local area, we have offices, like I said, all over the world, and we will be able to help you and guide you and direct you to those offices. What you see on the page right now is our wall of value. When you have the time, ask for that. It's going to give you the opportunity to get in and see what we're about, see what we have to offer, from culture to different divisions, whether it's commercial, residential, land, and those different things that are available for you. How our charities work. We're a very benevolent company. We believe in giving. We believe in the principles of giving, and then receiving on the back end of that. So I just want to encourage you right now and let you know that it is an excellent time to be in real estate. We may be having madness out there in our society and the way things are going. I can assure you this. It's a good time to be in real estate. We are experiencing record-breaking numbers right now, and you're thinking, wow, this guy's really feeding me a line. It's a fact. Bryan will validate that. The people that are working right now are busting it, okay? If you're willing to work and you're willing to do what it takes to make this a career happen, it will happen for you. Our business, Keller Williams model, is very simple. We don't care what kind of economy we're in. We have the systems and models to help you prosper in them. So be encouraged. It's an excellent time to be in real estate. You're with an excellent trainer. You have the opportunity to consider an excellent brokerage. I want to wish all of you much success in this endeavor. Take it one day at a time, my friends. Stay focused, and you will overcome this thing called licensing, and you will move on to your next career. You guys have a great evening. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and best to you always. I hope to hear great things from you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate all of your words, Robert. And man, he is not wrong. It is a fantastic time to be in real estate right now. Man, here's why you should be in real estate. You know, getting into real estate is a lot easier than most professions. Usually you have to go to school for 4 years. With real estate, you have 3 courses that take 3 months to get through. And then you've got a state exam, and that's it. You are in. Right now, with a little bit of delays in the state, I feel like there's a 5 to 6 week delay between getting your courses done and taking your test. But it's still a lot faster than taking it, you know, doing a 4-year university, 4-year anniversary. Let me see real quick. I just wanted to pull up. There was a question in the chat about a Torrance location, and it does look like on Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance there is a Keller Williams office. So message me after this and we'll talk about that. Yeah. So getting your license is easy. It's very fast. You can get done in 3 months. And the cost is so much lower than that 4-year real estate or 4-year school. You know, it's, I think it what, $399 covers all of your classes, your exam prep, which means that you can study and not have to pay even one extra dime to get, pass your test on the first try. I use a study guide very similar, but not as nice. And I was able to pass on my first try. It is very simple. It's not easy. That's one thing that I learned, is that real estate is simple, but it's not easy. You same thing with your license. It's a very simple thing. You study the material, you do the practice tests, you pass your test. But taking those tests or taking those practice tests are time consuming, and they get frustrating. And it's one of those things where you have to be ready to take that step to change your life. Because I'll get into what real estate did for me, but man, let me tell you what, it was the best decision that I ever made in my entire life. Besides, of course, my wife. But don't let her know I said that. So control your time when you're working in real estate. You have the ability to work and play at the same time. I tell my wife, and she knows, and everybody else, if I have my phone on me, I'm working, because I can take my client phone calls, I can schedule meetings, I can schedule appointments, I can schedule inspections, all of that stuff. My phone is my lifeline. So when I went out of town last week for my vacation, for my anniversary, last week I was down, down on the coast, and I was able to, take phone calls when I absolutely had to. And sometimes I decided I wasn't going to, but I'm the boss. So I get to decide when I want to do that, when I'm going to work, when I'm not going to work. It's one of those things that you get to do when, the shirt here says Bryan Collins on it. It doesn't say Keller Williams. It doesn't say, California. It doesn't say anything. It says Bryan Collins Realtor on it, because that's who I am. That's who I work for. And I'm the boss. And that's one of the greatest things about this job particular. Unlimited earning potential. I mean, you can close, if you close 5, 6, 7 deals a month. We have agents in our office here that close 10 to 12 deals per month. And they're making $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month. That takes time to get there for sure. There is a little bit of a learning curve there. My first year, I closed 4 deals. It wasn't the best thing, but honestly, I kind of did it a little half-assed, and I did not take it as seriously as I should have. And had I taken it more serious, I could have closed 8 or 9 deals that year, probably even more. But I was a little slackery with it, and I was kind of doing it part-time. I had a full-time job for the first 6 months of me being a real estate agent. After 6 months, I realized how much I love doing this, and I decided to do it full-time. So that was where I got started, kind of. So but yeah, anyways, the unlimited earning potential is it's a real thing. And then besides the fact that you can earn, if you earn what you want to put into it, if you work and put in the hours and you find the deals, you can do a lot. But also at Keller Williams here, we also have it's a cap system. So basically, we'll kind of get into that a little bit as well, but you will eventually earn 100% commission, where you pay nothing to nobody except for Uncle Sam, because he's always got to get paid. But as far as that, no other cost to you. You make 100% of your commission. But creating your own retirement account by buying and owning property, it is not unethical for someone to come to you and say, "Hey, I'd like to sell my house." And you go, "Wow, that's a really great deal. I'll buy that house from you." They go, "Oh, okay." If you find it's a really great deal and you have the means to do it, then you will absolutely have the opportunity to purchase that deal for you. And then you have an income property that you can use to rent out, or, just wait for it to appreciate. You have the option to have all of these things first. When you're in the office and you hear someone has a listing of something that maybe you're in the market to buy a house, you can purchase a house on your own behalf. and you have the inside track to all that too. And you know, especially right now, it's such a seller's market out there. If you're looking to buy a house and you can get you can get to the agent first and make a deal before it goes public, then as long as it works out for the seller and you, then why wouldn't you do that? So um, you're allowed to use that influence and that your position in order to make sure that you're looking out for your own best interests as well. So definitely recommend doing that. So most brokerages, I talk about Keller Williams a lot, and one of the reasons why I actually joined this this brokerage was because when I was doing the interviews, most of the companies, when we start talking about signs and how that works, they were telling me that, yeah, we provide the signs for you. And I'm like, oh, that's really great. But what happens is those companies, they provide the signs and they are branded completely to the company. And you have an office phone number, and you've probably seen them out there, when you go down, it says like, some brokerage information, or whatever. And at the very top, you get there's a little tiny box at the very top in white, and it says, call me this agent. And then gives you the name and phone number, and it's on a little square this big. And the signs, like 18 by 24, and you get a 6 by 12 writer. That's what happens. You don't get to brand your stuff to yourself. I don't know if you see that flag back there, but that flag back there says Bryan Collins Realtor on it. It's got all my information on it, because at Keller Williams, I am my own company. I do have to identify my brokers. That's why this is more of a prop piece than something else. I can't put that out really, because it doesn't have a brokerage on it. You do have to identify that you are with Keller Williams. But my for sale sign, it says Keller Williams at the bottom, but other than that, it says for sale, call Bryan Collins, with my phone number on it. And that's it. I've got a 4 foot by 8 foot banner out here on the road for vacant land that I've got on a busy street, which is real nice. And that sign goes up there and it says Keller Williams on it, but all those phone calls, they come directly to my cell phone. They don't go anywhere else. I get all of the leads for it. So with Keller Williams, you get to get all of your own leads, because your signs and everything are branded to you. They're not branded to the company. So the agents are the most important thing about Keller Williams. We make sure that all of the agents are successful. I volunteer my time to teach you guys so that you're successful. Outside of the school, I volunteer my time to teach agents and go through other classes. Right now, I'm going through a 12-week class called Ignite. I'm teaching that. And it is a fantastic program that we have, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more. But it's a fantastic program we have for new agents that it's free, and it covers every single aspect of pretty much all transactions. And it gives you a really good ground level to start with. And you actually come out of the class with leads, and you come out of the class working, hopefully having a transaction by the end of it. So it's a really good thing. And, we want you to succeed here, because when, I say we, but I'm not really staff or anything like that. So, but when you succeed, everybody succeeds. So, we have in-class and on-demand educational opportunities. So there's another thing. What we have is called KW Connect. It's basically like YouTube, but for Keller Williams agents. And there is just, there's probably 1 billion hours of video on there where people can walk you through how to do transactions, how to help with marketing, ideas for things. Like, it's just crazy out there. Whatever you want to search for, there's probably a video out there for it. Probably on YouTube as well, but also on KW Connect specifically for Keller Williams agents. So Ignite is one of the classes that I teach. Again, it's a 12 class. I run it as a 12-week class instead of a 12-day class. Because otherwise it gets really, really, really intense. And a lot of people they don't really follow through with the things you're supposed to do if we do it on a daily basis. So I do it once a week, and that kind of helps out people kind of space out what they need to do, because it is very intensive. You learn a lot, you are active, and you create jobs, you create work for yourself to do. It's a really great, fantastic program for new agents. MAPS coaching is something that you can sign up for, once you have some experience and some, if you're looking for some additional guidance in just the business in general, your specific business, you can get a coach to kind of help you kind of pinpoint what areas you need to work on, stuff like that. We have a bold, it's called Business Objective Life by Design. That's what BOLD stands for. And it is for experienced agents, but it's like Ignite, where you have, it's a very intense session classes, a series of classes that allow you to really just completely boost your business, and you walk out of there with, hopefully 5 or 6 transactions. It's really good. And KW Connect, I just talked about that. And then we also have a profit share program, which means that when you help Keller Williams grow, you also earn passive income, which is really fantastic. Our culture, Robert kind of talked a little bit about our culture. We definitely believe that it's like God first, family second, business third. That's how we run our business. My family is one of the most important things in my life. So, they come before, a lot of times they'll come before, my business, making sure that I have everything in my house organized before, I start helping other people organize their houses, literally and figuratively. Because when you become a real estate agent, you also become an organization specialist, a therapist, and a whole bunch of other hats you have to wear. So be prepared for that. Open book to access to financials. So if you're ever concerned about how your market center is being run, you can just go to your market center administrator and say, hey, I'd like to see what's going on. When you join the ALC, if you'd like to join the ALC, they usually have a financial committee. Even if you don't want to be a member of the ALC, maybe you're a little bit too new to actually be a member of the ALC, which again is the Agent Leadership Council. Every ALC member has a committee who they run. So you can get with the financial ALC member who runs the financial committee, and you can be involved in, that kind of thing. If accounting's really like your thing, and like you want to really see how the market centers are really run from a, internal perspective, you have access to that 100%. Our technology, I talked about Command. It's actually a relatively new thing. And by new, I mean, it's being implemented now. Last year was its first, I think, full year. The technology itself, I'm part of the Keller Williams Labs. You could also be part of the Keller Williams Labs, where you go in and you play with the system. You look at everything, and then when you see something that it doesn't do or something that it's limited on, you can suggest and make it. We have a whole entire idea forum, and you just say, I want this to do this. And then if you get more votes on the things that happen, the company looks at it and says, hey, look, there's 1,000 votes on this. We need to probably look into this. And that's how we get new features implemented into our systems. And it's built for us. It's built by us. Every Keller Williams agent is part of building the technology. Almost every single day it grows and evolves. Every week we have a different, feature that's coming out, and it's just continually getting better and better and better. And I don't even know what it's going to look like in 5 years. It probably won't even look like the same stuff that we've got today. So I'm real excited about it. I'm part of the regional technology team here. So pretty much all of Southern California and most of Southern California, actually. I meet up with the regional leaders, and we talk about things, the problems that the agents have. We look at best practices. We look at everything. And then I bring it back to my market center and, through my trainings, and most of you guys as well. And then, we always are looking to make it better and better. The training videos I talked about on KW Connect already. So those are still available. And then the profit share is that's what I was talking about. You get help, you get paid passive income in order to help your market centers grow. So you help other people who come to this meeting on the first month or first Monday of every month. The people that you refer here, when they get their license or whatever, they're people, when they go to join Keller Williams, they say, oh, like, who brought you to Keller Williams? They're going to say, oh, Eric Grand, he's the one who sent me here. And then Eric will now get, named as a sponsor, and then he will earn passive income when his people do business. So it's really great. So you help grow the market center, but you also earn money for doing it. Oh, yeah, I forgot that there was a video. Give me 1 second here. Oh, I did. Look at that. All right. I didn't know if I had. So this is a very short video. This is Gary Keller. Gary Keller is the founder of Keller Williams. He is really awesome. Like, this dude knows his stuff. He's not messing around. You'll hear it here. he helped write the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and it was him and Dave Jenks and Jay Papasan. So these guys came together. They interviewed like 50 or 100 or 200. I don't even know how many agents. They interviewed all these agents to find out exactly how did you do this? How did you become a successful person? And they put in this book here, this isn't just like a rah motivational, you can do it if you put your mind to it, that kind of book. No, it's not like that. This is a blueprint on how to make $1 million in real estate. It's do these steps, you will make $1 million. I have copies of here that I read through. I've got them on audiobook for when I get real drivey. Sometimes during the year, you get stuck in the car for an hour, 2 hours a week, so I have it on audiobook that I can listen to. I have it on ebook, and I have it paperback. I got it in hard book. I got 100 different copies because this book is how I make money. So take a look at that when you have a chance. But listen to this here, and we will be back in 1 second.
I ended up at Baylor, and at the end of my sophomore year, my father said, you really should get a major. And I said, what would I study? And so that summer, we spent a day with a lawyer, an accountant, a banker, and a realtor. And I liked the real estate guy. His name was Mr. Mosley, Mark Mosley. And I really liked what he did. And I think it was the entrepreneurial nature of what he was doing, maybe a little more than just real estate. It was just entrepreneurial. I went back to Baylor, and sure enough, that year they started a real estate major. So I went into the business school and got a marketing degree with a specialization in real estate and insurance. I was asked when I was 22 years old, and I was renting an apartment driving a Volkswagen Beetle by someone, why they should hire me. And my answer was, because I'm a professional. And I said, I'd like to tell you what that is. And a professional is somebody who knows what they know and knows what they don't know and knows the difference between the two. So when I know, I'll tell you. When I don't know, I'll go find out, which means you'll always get the right answer. And I think that in the end is the professional side of our industry. Probably the thing that I've learned from my real estate career is that you fail your way to success. What we fail to understand is that everybody fails. Everybody fails. And in fact, highly successful people usually have more failure than people that aren't as successful. So the difference that I learned between people that succeed at a high level and people that don't is that the people that succeed at a high level learn from their failures, get up, and get going. On one side, there is a business model that is very people-centric. It's very real estate agent-centric, and then asking the agent to be very consumer-centric. There's a philosophy built inside this organization that people matter and that you should build an organization around people and succeed with them. Then there's another reason, and that is, and I say this in all humility, because I am the person behind all of this, and I don't give up. And I've been underestimated a lot in my life. But in the end, I want our firm to be successful. I want the people in our firm to be incredibly successful. And I'm not gonna stop till I die. And I'm not leaving the industry and going and doing other things. I'm gonna stay right here, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm happy to go to my grave with my tombstone saying, he was a realtor.
And he probably will, because that dude's never gonna leave real estate. All right, so I'm assuming that most people here do not have your real estate license, so I don't think you have to worry about that. We'll go ahead and skip that step here. What time is it? 6:30. So we got a few more slides here. This is how the actual school works, and this is how we're going to be working on this. And we're going to cover it now, and then at 7 o'clock when we go through the actual class. Right now it's 6:33, so probably between now and 7 o'clock, we're probably going to have another like 30 or 40 people joining, because those are the students that are actively in right now in classes, and they're in their second month or even their third month or whatever. And so that's what this class is going to be. So you're going to see people start jumping in here, and we're going to kind of go over some of this information twice. So just when we start the class, you'll also see some of this information as well. Let me, all right. Yeah, all right, so here we go. Oh, here's more video.
These instructors are people with actual experience. So you can ask them and they can say, yeah, it's funny you say that. Last night, I just closed the deal. I just went through that exact scenario, and here's what I did.
I'm so excited. I have so much confidence. After this course, I will pass the state exam.
It has been just really phenomenal, as well as the instructor, and just putting it all in a nutshell and just making it work and make you just want to be ready to work, because I'm ready to work now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I always love that last girl there. She's always like, I'm ready to work right now. And it's like, man, that's how I always feel after I get done with these classes. Like, sometimes it's a bummer that these classes end at 9 o'clock, because by the time I'm done, I'm so pumped up and ready to go. I'm just like, who can I call at 9 o'clock at night that's not going to murder me tomorrow? So, but that's just the way it goes. This school here, so we'll just finish these now. I'm going to talk a lot, so don't worry. You're going to hear all the stories. So it's accredited DRE school. The Department of Real Estate only accredits, schools who meet their specifications, so that you can earn your certificates that they require for their classes. Everything we do is online. Really, what we cover here in our classes, it is going to be real world experience. It's going to be my experiences, and we're going to cover the material in the books at a kind of a high level. Go over the real important points, whatever. But we couldn't cover all of this stuff in 3 months if I went through every word of these books. We are the trainers that would do this. We're all, licensed real estate agents. I opened up 2 escrows this morning. I currently have 7 going. It's really crazy right now. It's so busy. So we're real people that have, full-time real estate jobs and, other endeavors as well. And then, of course, at the end of your 3 months, when it's time for you to do your application part, we will help you. I can help you, walk you through what the application you need, filling out all the paperwork, and just walking you through, make sure that you have everything that you need. You have everything in your checklist. You've put everything in your envelopes, and all that good stuff. So we don't just leave you hanging. I will be there for you. Almost everybody at the end of this will probably have my cell phone number. If not, you have my email address for sure, because I know I emailed almost every single one of you today. So you can ask me questions at any point, at any time. I'm available. And then once if you decide to move forward and you want to join up and you want to do the classes full time, whatever, then every single Monday and Wednesday you'll get a text message from me. You'll have my cell phone number. I helped yesterday. There was one of the students that just finished her 3rd month. She had never met her team leader before in West Hollywood. So I called up her team leader and got her an appointment set up so that she didn't feel uncomfortable going into a market center that she'd never been in, because we've only been doing this online. So, I'm there to support you now until you are an agent, and even beyond then. Like, if you still have questions, I still help all of the agents who have become real estate agents to this day. So, that's what I do. That's how I am. There's a question in the chat that said, if you pay for the classes after tonight, we have to redo the chapters that we're covering tonight. So the answer is no. You'll just be able to log in and start where we left off, because we're only covering, I think, chapters 1 and 2, and most of it is really a how the school works and everything. So you won't be that far behind. And everybody who's here tonight, from 7 o'clock on, everybody here who's here from 7 o'clock on, this is their first night as well. So you won't be behind at all. So the licensing process for you guys, you take your 3 required state courses, which is real estate practice, real estate principles, and then an elective. If you choose to do the in-class training, we do the elective is finance. Like Keon said earlier, we just go over what finance is, how it helps you. There's not a whole lot of math involved, so you don't have to worry about it being super stressful. Then once you finish your 3 courses, you submit your application and your payment to the Department of Real Estate, and then they will assign you a test date. And then usually there's like a 5-6 week gap in between you filling out your application, mailing it in, and receiving a test date. So that gives you plenty of time to use all of the exam prep materials and just study your little hearts out so that you're 100% ready for the state exam when your test date gets there. So then once you pass your state exam, they literally give you a piece of paper with your brand new shiny real estate license number on it. And you walk that straight into your market center and say, I'm ready to go. And within probably 48 hours, you should be able to do business. And if you do it the right way, the way that I teach you how to do it, you're going to have transactions waiting for you when you get your license, because that's what I did. So the arrows on this don't make sense because they're a little out of whack, but that's okay. We don't need to worry about the arrows. So the way that this works right now, we are real estate principles. Let me get my little laser pointer. So we're real estate principles. So August, we're going to cover principles. And then next month in September, we're going to cover finance. If today is your, this is your first month, then we're going to go on and we're going to cover the best course out of all of them, real estate practice. You won't ever see me get more excited than real estate practice. It is a fantastic course, and it's really the ins and outs day to day of what you got to do to be a real estate agent. And it goes along with all the things that I'm passionate about, which of course is marketing. So I really like that part. But if this is, say, your second month, then you're going to finish out with real estate finance next month. So it's just a cycle. I go through this rotation and I just keep going through them. I only get you guys for 3 months though. So yeah. So we're going to start one class at the beginning of the month, and we're going to do this for 3 weeks. So the first 3 weeks of each month, if I'm looking at my calendar, which I'm not, of course, because, it's buried under 17 other things. So we have the 3rd and the 5th this week, the 10th and the 12th next week, and then the 17th and 19th of August. And then the last week, the 24th and 26th, there is no class that week. So don't feel stressed out if you maybe fall behind a little bit. You have a whole entire week to catch up. Now, with that said, the classes, the finals for each of the classes, they're open note and open book. So there should be no stress at all for these 3 classes. This is something that you read, you go through, you absorb what you absorb. And then when you get to the final, you're allowed to use your book, you're allowed to use your notes, and, you should pass your final courses very, very easily. So, it's nothing to stress out about. We will make it through. So when you sign up as a student, you do get an ebook of each of the books. They look very similar to this, and I have them over here on my bookshelf. The other 2. So you get 3 books. If you would like to have hard copy books like these, which are really awesome, I'm not going to lie, it's an extra $50. So, and I think shipping, there's shipping and tax. So I think it comes actually be about $65. I know somebody had said that they just ordered their books. So maybe, Eric. So I don't know if you remember how much your books were with tax and everything, but I think it's about $65 after everything's said and done. additional to the $3.99. But then you have the books. You can mark them. You can write on them. They're yours. You can highlight them. Sticky notes. I'm a real big sticky note person, so I like to put sticky notes on everything. You have that availability to do that. Otherwise, inside your portal, inside your student portal, you have an ebook that you can read pretty much on all your devices, tablets, your phone, whatever your computer. You can do it that way if you'd like. All of the quizzes are available. Just a word of caution, not a caution, I guess, just advice. If you do have the regular books, if you do the quizzes in the books, they do not count toward your requirement to take each of the quizzes at the end of the chapters. So the way it works is you read through your ebooks, and then there's a quiz at the end of each of the ebooks. At the end of each chapter, you have to take that quiz. Once you've completed all the quizzes in the book, then you can take your final exam for the entire book. If you do your book quizzes in here on paper, they do not count. So you then have to go in and do more quizzes. So you can either skip these or just answer the questions. Look at the answers are in the back of the book. So you can just mark the correct answers down there so that you don't have to worry about learning what the wrong answer was. You just know what the right answer is, which is highly, highly more effective than trying to figure out what the wrong answer is. So if you get the books, don't do the quizzes in the books, or only do, just circle the right answer so you know what they are. The exams inside your study material for the exams, they are very, very effective when used. And this is kind of getting ahead, because at the end of this, when it's your third month or whatever, you're going to go through and we're going to go over how to kind of use your third month exams. And that way you can see how to effectively study and make the most use of your time that you have to study. Every single PowerPoint that we cover in any of our classes, they're also available in your portal. So if you're going through, you're like, man, Bryan had a really nice slide that had a picture on it that I'd really like to see again. In your student portal for that chapter, you will see the PowerPoint, and you can go through and look at every single slide that I cover. So nothing, you won't miss anything ever. There's some add-on videos that go into super depth of the material. So that's something that you can use if you'd like, and you're able to, do that. And there's flashcards that you can download, print, and then you can study those. And then of course we help with the state exam application, and you have your state exam prep material, which we will definitely cover. It is very, very effective. I had a CD when I studied. I did my 3 courses, and then I had this CD, and it had like 500 questions on it. And then it just randomly pre-populated like 100 questions in a exam format. And I just had to randomly take that test like 1,000 times, and it got real old and boring because the questions were all very similar. Thankfully I studied enough that, I passed on my first try. So that was awesome. The state exam prep material that this school offers, I think the pool is like 1,000 questions. And then you can choose how many questions in each of your practice tests. So you can start off like 10 or 20 and then go up to like 50 and then do like a full 100, 200 question, practice test. So it's really awesome. And then of course we have reviews. I'm hoping that I have some reviews now. That would be really nice. But some of my other classrooms, some of my other students have said that they're going to review me. So hopefully we do, but you can look up any California Realty instructor and you'll be able to see any of the reviews that we have. I would have to say, yeah, most of the students pass on the first time. I can't guarantee it, but if you're studying properly, then yeah, you should definitely do it. So you can see here the in-class training. I've already told you it's $3.99. And that includes all of the stuff that we just talked about, the electronic books, simulations of the state exam, the prep course material, and your online portal. Then of course there's add-ons like the hard books, the hard copy books. You can do course videos and crash course videos that you'll take kind of toward the end of your thing. If you'd want to, there's an additional cost. So if you do plan on taking, the next step and you want to come back on Wednesday and you want to pursue this, you'll either need to go to CaliforniaRealtyTraining.com and you can sign up that way, or you can call the number 888-317-8740, and then you will have the opportunity. Probably you might talk to Keon, you might talk to somebody else that's working there right now, and let them know that you want to sign up for the in-class option. If you don't want to listen to me talk and tell stories and, put the stuff into real world context, then you're a real online go-getter. You can do this all on your own. That's 100% okay. No hurt feelings, I promise. You can just do the online only. It includes all of the stuff that I talked about, or whatever, but you just don't come to class every Wednesday, and you just strictly do all of your classes by yourself. You read the books, take the quizzes, you do the tests and stuff like that, and you'll go through there. You can potentially finish the classes a little bit faster. We will definitely take 30 days to do it. The state minimum for classes is 16 days. So you can't take more than one final in 16 days. So even if you breeze through it in 10 days, you still have to wait an extra 6 days before you can take the next final for the courses. So you're looking at a minimum of 54 days for all 3 courses, and we're going to take 90 days. So you have the potential to save 40 days and get your application in there sooner. And I see we've got some people showing up. We're almost to the end. Payments, if you want to break it into a payment plan, your first payment's $144, the second and third payment's $140.25. Talk to the school if you really want to, but you don't have the $144 available. Just talk to the school and figure out something that works. They're usually really good about helping everybody get in, because we want everybody to be a real estate agent. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have about 9 minutes. So if you have questions, I would love to take your questions. So let me If you want to unmute yourself, you can ask a question, type it in the chat box if you'd like, and all that good stuff. So hello, Cartini. Thank you for showing up.
Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Quick question. So on the quiz on the portal, there is also exam, final exam. Do I need to take that?
Yep. That's what you're going to do when you've so like last month we finished real estate practice. If you've taken all of your quizzes from real estate practice, then you're going to take the final. That's going to be the last class. That's what's going to give you your certificate that says that you passed real estate practice.
Oh, the chapter 1.
Well, that's for all of them.
All of them? No, I mean for the practices, real estate practices, because we're going into the principal, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so you need to take real estate practice final.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the due date? The last time we have to do it?
There is no due date. You have access to the school for a year.
Okay.
So if you if
Ready?
it takes you a little longer, you can take it whenever you feel like it.
Okay.
Zoom classes will not be recorded, unfortunately. I don't know if that's something they're going to try to do later on, or if not, but for the most part, the classes will not be recorded, so you will not be able to watch them later. Again, going through the PowerPoint, kind of will direct you on what we kind of covered and talked about. All of the training itself, like all of the actual studying is done offline on your time, to make sure that you're reading the book and you're completing all of that all of those things. You're doing all the detailed reading on your own. We go over some of the high points and we talk about some of those points in the real world and that sort of thing, but so you should be fine. I mean, if you miss a class, you're really not falling behind, because you still have the ability to catch up and kind of catch up. That's really it. You have the ability to catch up. Do we get reimbursed after the first sale? Alex, I'm assuming that's Alex. No, I don't think that is a, I don't think that we do that. I guess maybe it would be up to your market center. You could talk to your team leader about something like that. But I don't think that that is something that we do. All right. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, here we go. Let's see. Irvin. Once you complete the course and fulfill the hours, no, there's not really. I wouldn't say there's a time frame. I feel like your courses are good for, I think, 2 years. So if you finish your courses, you pass all 3 of your state courses or whatever, but then you don't want to take the exam right away, I think you have up to like 2 years in order to that your courses are still good for.
I think 1 year.
Is it only 1 year? I know you have access to the school. You have access to all your materials and your study exam materials for a year. So, from the date of your enrollment, you have access to the school materials for a year.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. But I think the state considers your certificates good for I think 2 years.
Okay.
And then let's see, Sammy said, how quickly can we get certified as soon as we finish the course? Yeah. So, I mean, once you have your 3 certificates, as soon as you submit your application to the state and they process your application, however long it takes them to give you a date to take your exam, is pretty much is pretty much the as fast as you can do it. Once you pass your state exam and you have your license number, it usually takes about 2 or 3 days just to, join the local associations and do all of the paperwork that you need to do. So, once you've taken your state exam, you're pretty much good to go for real estate. Yeah, in-class sessions right now are all being done via Zoom. We were hoping that in June we were going to be able to start doing everything back in person, and then, it got a little dicey in July, and they shut everything back down again. So right now, this is in person. This is considered to be in person. Las Vegas. I love Las Vegas. Let's see. Testing is being affected. It's being effective. It's being affected. That's I think why there's such a long delay right now. They're not processing applications as fast as they can, and they're not. The tests, they are administering tests, but they're not. Usually there'd be 40 or 50 people taking a test at a time, but they're only allowing 15 or 20 now, I think. So they're doing half classes, full. So it is, I don't know, I feel like there are only 4 people. There's a big space when you're taking the test. You have this big desk, and then it's like a glass top, and there's a monitor underneath the glass top, so you can't look at somebody else's monitor. It's all buried in the desk. And yeah, I feel like I would think that they would be able to just, have it. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate you being here. No, not okay. So each chapter does not have a certificate. Only each book has a certificate. So there's 15 chapters in each book. There's a quiz after each. So there's 15 quizzes, and there's one final. So once you pass all 15 quizzes, you have access to the final. Once you take the final, if you pass it, then you get your certificate. If you fail it, you have to just retake it. I think that there's a time frame, like a 48-hour window or something. If you don't pass it, I think you have to wait 48 hours before you can take it again. But yeah, I feel like it's pretty, like I said, it's open book, open note. You should definitely be able to pass each time because, you know, open up a browser and Google the answers. Google is my notebook, so I don't know. You take each quiz in your portal, your student portal will have all of your quizzes there. The exam is done on a computer. So I'm assuming you mean your state exam because it also is done on a computer. Okay, it is 7 o'clock right now. Most of my past students should be in here. We've got almost 50 people in here now, so that's good. So we will get started here in just a minute. I still want to give people a couple more minutes here, but I just realized that my lights are terrible in here and I don't have any of my video lights on and I'm kind of a light snob. So I'm going to set up my lights real quick, give people a chance to come in here. Thank you very much, but it'll look much better in just a minute. I promise you. Yeah. All right. I do really enjoy making videos, so I have a lot of fun equipment for making videos. So when I do things like this, I like to make sure that I'm using it. You probably can't even hear me because I don't even have a microphone on. There we are. I like to make sure that I'm using all of my equipment so that I have the best possible viewing experience. I don't know. I just think it's fun. So, and I may have, like I touched my video monitor, or this thing, what's that called? Camera. There it is. It was dirty. All right. How much does it cost to take the test each time? So if you are taking your state exam, the state exam costs $60 to take. You pay that with your application fee, and then I believe if you need to retake it, I don't feel like I want to say that there is no retesting fee unless you fail the second time, and then you may have to go. And then I think there's a small retesting fee after the second or third time. Application fee is $235 for the state application fee, plus the $60 for the state exam. And so I think it's a total of like $304. If the math, you're going to find out right now. I'm not a mathematician. My job is to negotiate contracts, not add numbers. So simple math, I need a calculator for. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm fine with it. I've come to terms with the fact that I am not my uncle. My uncle is like a mathematician and, you know, he knows like physics or something. I don't know. He's way out of here. So I don't even have my slideshows up. Hold on one second. We're doing principles? Sure are. What do you mean I'm not signed in? All right, give me 1 second. All right. let us start. Where's my Zoom at? There we are. All right, I see you guys. So we're going to go ahead and start. Here we are. So welcome to California Realty Trading Principles. This is the introduction to principles. So once you guys have logged in and you have access to your student portal, you're going to log in. You'll have access to the mandatory chapter quizzes, 10 questions, and then you have 3 online course exams, which is practice, principles, and finance. So 3 course exams, 3 books, 3 modules, everything's done. What? Class. Hold on one second. What? I'm going to be here until 9, so just lock up when you're done. Okay. So other agents are still here trying to do their business, and they wanted to know if I need to leave or not. So, yeah. So you're going to do your mandatory chapter quizzes. There's 10 questions for each of the 15 chapters. So that's 150 total quiz questions that you have to answer. And then you do your final, which is your final exam. And then you'll get a little certificate at the end when you pass it. And then that is good for your DRE exam application. We're going to cover real estate concepts and terms, my advice and my experience from every single day. And let me tell you what, I got a lot of it. Everyday agent activities. We're going to go over contracts, disclosures, real estate forms. And none of this stuff, yes, I will be going over all the slides that we go over. I'll be sharing all of them. So can you can all see the slides, right? Do you see the slideshow? Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. You know, a lot of this stuff, you're going to feel really overwhelmed because, man, there are so many contracts that you have to know. And not only are there so many contracts, there's so many different ones, but there's also like 20 pages or 10 pages or 15 pages. You know, there's so many pages in the contract that you have to know. So you're going to feel overwhelmed and you're going to feel a little anxious when it comes down to it. And that's 100% normal. I still get anxious sometimes when I have to go over contracts, and it's fine. So it's nothing you're not going to be tested on specific things inside contracts. We're going to go over them so you can see them. So you can look at what a purchase contract looks like. You can look to see what, you know, an agent visual inspection disclosure looks like, but you don't have to remember every single thing in those contracts. You're not going to be tested on them. They're just for your information. So if for some reason you're feeling like, oh, this is overwhelming me or whatever, just shut it off and, you know, skip over that. You know, that sort of thing. It's fine. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Again, all of your quizzes, all of your chapter tests, all of your module tests are open book, open note. So you can go back and find the answer if it's something that you did miss. So here's some of the terms that we're going to go over today. You know, a buyer, that's somebody who wants to purchase real estate, whether it's home, a land, or business. And there are businesses that are considered real estate. They can either get a loan or they can pay cash. Owners will sell their homes. They are called sellers. That's how we typically refer to people who sell their home, as we call them sellers. And a real estate agent, we place buyers and sellers into contract, and we get paid a commission once the transaction is closed, not executed. I mean, I guess technically it is kind of executed, but it's kind of a bad term because typically executed means you've signed a document. But I guess, yeah, anyways, that's semantics. So escrow is a neutral third-party company who holds all of the documents and all of the money, and they're the ones who make sure that both sides have done everything that they need to do before something else happens. So before the seller gives the deed to the buyer and the buyer gives the cash to the seller, escrow makes sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and all that good stuff. A lender is someone who assists a buyer acquire a home loan. So you always hear something, oh, have a lender. A lender is typically a lender is typically the loan officer. And then there's other parts of the lending process that could also be referred to as the lender. Sometimes we're just talking about the bank. Sometimes we're talking about the very specific person. Sometimes we're talking about the process. You know, it gets a little crazy, but we'll go over all of that. Prospecting is your, oh man, I get passionate about this. So prospecting is how you make business. You have to know you don't have, if you can't prospect, then you don't have business to do. Most of the time, business is not just going to fall into your lap. After 5 years, I've had maybe 6 transactions that just fell into my lap out of the blue, no work necessary, just like, oh, hello, yes, I'll help you sell your house. That's happened a few times, but 99.9% of the time, my sphere of influence, the people that I know and love, my past clients, all of those people are the people who contribute to my business. And they remember me because I make sure that I stay top of mind. And we will get into so much of that. Like I said, real estate is simple. You let people know that you're in real estate. They remember that you're in real estate. They give you business, you close deals, and you make money. It's very simple, but it's not easy because there's so many points in between these 5 main points that you really have to get into. But I feel like for the most part, real estate's pretty fun. Although I feel like I have 8 escrows open right now, and it feels a little bit like my beard's on fire and people shooting at me. That's what today feels like. It's been a long day. So let's go into the administration of real estate law, the Department of Real Estate, which is also called the DRE. They're a division of the California Department of Consumer Affairs, and they administer and manage the real estate law. They're the ones that come up with the rules and the laws and regulations. The commissioner is basically the head honcho of real estate, and he's the one that is, or he or she, depending on who the commissioner is right now. And in fact, I think we're between commissioners. I think we have a temporary commissioner right now. But they're the ones who they're appointed by the governor and they enforce the law. So sometimes if you get in a lot of trouble, you may have to meet with the board of the commissioner. But they're the ones that determine what real estate law is and how to uphold it. So their mission is to safeguard and promote the public interest in real estate matters through licensure, regulation, education, and enforcement. So we are regulated because we have a real estate license, so we have to follow laws. We are, held to standards. They also make sure that the rules and regulations are followed, but then also they provide education to make sure everybody's following the same thing. And of course, they enforce the law so that you're not, going out and being rogue or something. So the Real Estate Advisory Commission is a 10-member panel that's chosen by the real estate commissioner. 6 people are licensed real estate brokers who preside in the meetings and advise the real estate commissioner, and 4 are non-licensed members of the public. Frankly, I've never had to deal with them, so I don't really know who those 4 people are, but I imagine that they are probably just business people who, probably in the Chamber of Commerce in Sacramento or something like that, that will, that helps advise the commission. But you can see that 4 people are non-licensed members of the public, so they kind of get an outside perspective on how real estate should be going. And then of course we have the 6 that are real estate brokers. So the power to adopt, amend, or revoke licenses lies under the real estate law. So the real estate commissioner, Mr. Wayne Bell, was the commissioner until 2018. Oh, Sandra now. Yeah, Sandra now is the acting current real estate commissioner. So there's about 415,000 real estate licensees in California, and I'm honestly surprised. I feel like that number is probably closer to 500 now. It's been very busy in the real estate licensure world. Sorry. So I always used to think it's like, oh man, there's so many people. There's 50 agents. There's 100 and something agents just in my office. And then some offices have 200 and 300 agents, but it always seems like there's a lot of competition out there. And then of course, just in my area, which is a very small nook, I don't know if you guys know where the high desert is, but we're not a very huge, area. But I feel like we have like 4,000 real estate agents in like 1 million people. It's a lot of real estate agents. And, it's like I used to sit online and see all these real estate, because once you start becoming friends with these people, you start seeing them on Facebook and you start seeing them. And it's just like, oh man, these guys are getting all the business and they're doing all this stuff or whatever. And, I have never once gone, oh, they took all of my business, because there's so much business out there. None of these people, 99% of these people are not friends with any of my friends. They're not in my sphere of influence. I do have a couple overlapping people who, one of my old coworkers from one of my from my job before I became a real estate agent, he is now a real estate agent with a competing brokerage. So our sphere of influence of our friends and the people that we used to work with overlap a little bit. So that's, interesting. And then I have one of the people I went to high school with, who's very close family members with my current circle of friends, is also in that. So I feel like there's a little bit of overlap there, but I've still, made all the money that I could make and not had any problems with any of that. Sure, sometimes somebody's going to go with the real estate agent that I did not approve, or, that I didn't have a say in, or, whatever. They use somebody that was like, hey man, how come you didn't use me? But, I learned early on that I can't take it personal, because they probably had maybe a family, maybe that person was a family member, or, they had some other circumstance that really, frankly, is none of my business. And I tell them that I am 100% available to help them out, even if, it's not something that I'm going to make money on, because I personally believe that if I give of myself, then, I'm going to get back. So, that's why I help every single agent that walks in my door. I do my trainings here with you guys. I make sure that as much as I can, I put myself out there as much as I possibly can. So that way, hopefully one day, maybe one of you guys will remember my name when you need a referral in my area, that sort of thing. And, that's, I started doing that last year and my business exploded. So I plan on never stopping doing that. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about competition. There's not really any competition, because you're going to be talking to your people, and your people are going to help you grow your business. So real estate brokerage in general, I am Bryan Collins Realtor. I own and operate Bryan Collins Realtor. I own and operate the Collins Family Realty Group. That is my team that I have created in this last year. But I work under my brokerage. So my brokerage, Keller Williams, is owned by my brokerage is owned by John Hollander, and he is our broker of record, and he oversees all of my actions. When you have a license number, when you pass your state exam, you are considered a real estate agent, but you cannot practice real estate until you have your license with a brokerage, whether that's a 4-person mom and pop, and, John Smith is going to be your broker, and that's totally cool. But you cannot do real estate without a broker. So also being, this one always brings up questions, but being a real estate agent is a little bit interesting, because per the California real estate law, you have to be an employee of the broker in order to do business under that broker. But to the IRS and to everybody else, you are an independent contractor. So you are a 1099 commission only, independent contractor who is also an employee. It's very weird, because, when you're a 1099, typically you're definitely not an employee, but the real estate law says you have to be an employee. So you get to sign this fun little piece of paper that says, for the purposes of the real estate law, you are an employee of the brokerage, but you are a 1099 employee. You are a 1099 independent contractor, as far as your payment is going, as far as your pay goes. And then basically, because you join a brokerage, you are an agent of your broker. And so when you create an agency agreement with a client, say you have a client, you want to sell their house, you sign a listing agreement saying that you're going to represent and you're going to be that client's agent. You're actually saying that you are signing on behalf of your broker, and you are representing your broker who is representing the client. So all agreements that you make are between your broker and your client, and you are kind of the middleman. But we'll get into all that, and it'll be a little bit clearer. I know sometimes it's shocking to me that this is like such a, hey, day one, we're going to really confuse you with brokerage law. That's all right. Poor Kobe. makes me so sad. I always forget about this slide. So when you hang your license with your brokerage, you represent them to the real estate world. So just like this little thing shows on the front, you are saying that you represent the team, you're representing Keller Williams, all that stuff. But on the back of the jersey there, you get your name. That's where you get to go. Now, I have my name on the front of the jersey, which is fine, but all of my all of my client facing stuff shows that I am with Keller Williams. You can see my, wait. Like on my business card, it's got the Keller Williams logo and, all my information. And on the back, I've got all of my personal branding stuff. I got my little Bitmoji there. I've got my YouTube and Facebook and all that good stuff. So you are, you represent the team as far as your brokerage goes. So let's see, real estate brokerage office activities. So you deal with transactions that involve real property, such as residential property, sales and leases. You can be a rental person if you want. You can help people find rentals. It's definitely not as lucrative to help people find rentals. The typical payment that you receive as a real estate agent helping someone sign a lease is about $100. Sometimes it's $200. And, that just depends on how hard you're willing to work for that $200. But you can, there's property management if you want to get into that sort of thing. But most people, almost every real estate agent out there will start with residential sales because almost every person is either going to be a buyer or a seller. So you have 1,000 different people in your phone book right now who are, possibly ready to do business with you. You can also do commercial property. Your license is good for residential or commercial. The same person selling a $50 million mansion in Beverly Hills is the same person who can sell a $250,000 investment land property, out in the middle of the desert. You don't have to be registered special. You don't have to go through special training. There's nothing necessary. You have to have your real estate license. You have to hang your license with a brokerage. You get out there and sell whatever you want. Mobile manufactured homes, if you want to get into something like that, we have an entire division out here that does nothing but mobile homes because that out where we live in some of the more rural areas, a lot of people like to buy land and put mobile homes on it. Business opportunities. So you have the opportunity to sell businesses. Last year, I was fortunate. No, I'm sorry, not last year. It was like, Christmas. That was like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to try and list a donut shop. And, they ended up not wanting to sell it at the end of the day, but it was an interesting process that I got to participate in. You can even do mortgage loans. It is not against any California, anything that says that you can't be a mortgage loan originator as well as a real estate agent. One of my, excuse me, one of the properties that I'm going through right now, I'm the listing agent. The buyer's agent is also the buyer's lender. So actually, I used to think that might have been like a conflict or something like that. But frankly, it's really nice because I can talk to one person and figure out whether it's something they can do or not. I don't have to wait for a lender to get back to me. And it's actually really nice. So if mortgage loans is something that's really interesting to you, then you could go and get your mortgage license as well. And meet, as long as you meet those requirements and everything. So the real estate area that's typically chosen by new licensees is real property such as residential homes. So residential is typically where most people start, again, because your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your daughters, your sons, nieces, nephews, your best friend, whatever. Almost everybody needs a place to live. So whether they're looking for a rental, now they have you to help them find a rental. They're looking to sell their house. Now they have a fantastic real estate agent that they're going to know and trust, to do that. Most real estate agents will start as a buyer's agent. I really don't know what the statistics are on it, but the it's just really what almost everybody's first transaction is usually being a buyer's agent. I do feel like it is the easier of the two between going over a listing. I feel like sometimes being a listing agent, you have to have a little bit more of the ins and outs before someone, really that you're going to make this person hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they really typically want to find somebody who's got some experience. So once you get one or two under your belt or whatever, I feel like people start being a little bit more trustworthy. As far as they'd be a little bit more trusting, like, oh, okay, you're not quite so new anymore. I know my first two transactions were buyers before I got my first seller, and that was my really good friend. So, even he was like, well, you've only been doing this for a little while, maybe. And I'm like, no, man, just trust me, I can get it done. And I got it done. So it worked out really well. And now I've purchased and sold a couple of his homes. So it was a good time. NMLS is, I feel like that's their license number. So, but mortgage loan MLO is their mortgage loan originator. So you are a MLO that has an NMLS. So that's the difference. They're kind of not the same thing. Let's see. And someone asked, when do we get to meet the broker agents in your market center? So if most of the market centers are open during normal business hours. Some of them may be by appointment only. If you want to go in and meet with your team leaders or whatever, that's great. Just let me know. I can set up an appointment for you to go in and meet with them. I can try and find out what what their hours are, that sort of thing, and give you some direction there. But yeah, you can go, feel free to, you can just, for the most part during the day, you can probably just go in there and knock on the door and they'll probably let you in, and just let them know that you're a student and all that good stuff. But can you make commission if you are the person buying or selling the house? Yeah, you make commission on both sides, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And we will get into the structure of how and when you make that money. So we will definitely do that. Oh yeah. So if you're on your own transaction, you still make the same commission. If I was buying a house for myself and they were offering a 2.5% commission to the buyer's agent, I absolutely am going to make 2.5% on that transaction. I will most likely tell my lender that I'm going to use that money as part of my down payment or something like that. So that way I have guaranteed money toward my down payment. And then, you can work with your broker. Sometimes they're really cool. If you're buying something for yourself, they won't even take any commissions are usually split between you and your broker. And we will get into brokerage splits here. But usually for my specific broker, he does not allow us to, he doesn't take money on our own transactions. So I would basically earn 100% of my own commission in order to, be able to do that. So that's kind of cool. You can talk to your brokers individually and be able to, work something out like that. They might just take a much less split, that sort of thing. So Will, the answer to your question is that I don't know of a website that exists like that. That goes against the real estate law. And that's not something I feel like, oh, okay. So I don't have any idea what Chicago law is, but in California, we have nothing like that. That's not a thing. All listings have to be in the MLS within 48 hours of a signed contract. And you're allowed up to 7 days of coming soon status in the MLS. So you can put something in the MLS to be advertised, but you cannot take any offers. You cannot do any sort of showing. It can only be in the MLS for 7 days before it can go live. So what you're talking about are like pocket listings. And that was a big problem that we had in the last few years. So that's why they changed all the rules and all the laws here in California, because it was providing for certain people, it was providing an unfair advantage in finding homes that weren't advertised to the public. Here in California, everybody has equal access to all of the homes. So that's just not something that we do out here any longer. 2 years ago, a year ago, it was definitely something that they did, but that's definitely not something we do anymore. I think it's like a $10,000 fine for something like that. Okay, so broker's responsibility, they have to maintain a valid real estate license. So all licensees under a brokerage has to have valid, active, real estate license. The broker is going to monitor these and make sure that all of their licensees underneath that brokerage are going to stay active. They're going to supervise the sales associates, which means that they're going to go in and they're going to check the paperwork every once in a while. They're going to do audits on your files and all that good stuff. So most of the time, look, I mean, I know that I'm a good agent, but I still have to, have someone do a compliance check on all of my paperwork. But there's nobody ever standing over my shoulder going like, oh, Bryan, what are you doing today? Are you doing your job? Because Bryan Collins is the boss over here. Nobody stands over my shoulder, but my broker is still, the one who's responsible for all of my transactions. So they have to make sure that you're doing all the paperwork right. So there are compliance officers in the office that will go through and make sure that all your paperwork is good and everything is the way it should be. They report to the broker, so that way the broker keeps an eye on everything. And then, of course, they have to maintain all the transaction records. Any transaction that happens, all the paperwork has to be kept for 3 years. I believe in most cases it's 5. We keep it for 5. That's our policy here to make sure that we, COA. I don't know what the abbreviation for that would be. Yeah. So they're going to keep all the transactions. A real estate salesperson, which is me, someone who holds a salesperson license. And you can see right here, I have my little mini card. I keep that in my little notebook here because this right here is basically my entire life. A yellow notebook and my pen and it has a calculator in it because I don't go anywhere without a calculator. So the salesperson is hired by a real estate broker in order to perform any of the real estate activities that require a license, which is talking contracts, talking numbers, discussing things. There's certain things you cannot do when you don't have a license. And there's only certain things that you can do if you don't have a license. So the license allows you to do your job if you're supervised by a broker. And then, of course, you receive compensation only from the broker. So the way that escrow or the way that commissions work is the seller in California, the seller is responsible for 100% of the commission. So if, let's say you have a seller, they are going to charge, for an example, let's say this person charges 5% commission. You're going to earn 2.5% commission, and the other person is going to earn 2.5% commission. Of course, these are not standardized numbers. Commission is 100% negotiable between the agent and the seller. Some sellers choose 4%, some 4.5%. There's any infinite number in between there that you can do. So the seller is responsible for paying 100% of the commission. The buyer does not pay any commission to the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent is compensated from the seller of the home. All of that money gets sent to escrow. Whether let's say if it's 5%, then 5% of the purchase price goes to escrow as commission to the real estate agents. That each of the brokers who are responsible for the agents, they each get a 2.5% check from there. And then the brokerages are paid because you are making an agreement with the broker and your client that says you're representing the broker and you're representing the client. So then the broker receives the money and then the broker is the one that pays you. You do not ever get paid directly except you get paid from your brokerage. That's it. And we'll get, I know everybody's got a ton of questions about how to get paid and how all this stuff. And that's just, we will definitely get into that in a lot more detail and maybe write down questions. You can put them in the chat or wherever, and we'll go over some of them for sure at the end here. So licensing requirements to become a real estate agent, you have to be at least 18 years old. Anybody here is not 18? Will, that is, your mustache says that you are definitely at least 18. Let's see, you got to be honest and truthful. If you're not honest and truthful, Teresa, I'm looking at you. Just hang up. Just kidding. You have to pass your courses in real estate principles, real estate practice, and an elective. Again, you can choose any of the other electives, but if you take the in-class training, it is going to be financed for you. Let's see, you have to pass the salesperson license exam. That's the state exam. So you study, you pass your state exam, you get your license number. Okay, so some of the questions come to me privately, and so I'll answer those out loud, but I won't identify who sends them. But if you chat to the entire everybody, then you will be able to see any of the questions that go to everybody. So just so you know, I kind of forgot. I usually try and say something about that at the beginning because sometimes I'm answering random questions and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I get the private questions. I will answer them out loud. I just don't identify people who don't want to be identified. So. Where are we at? Fingerprinted. So once you have finished your exam, you've before you send in your application, one of the very last steps before you can finish your application is to be fingerprinted. One of the papers to include with your application is your live scan document, and that's something that you do right at the end or whatever, and they just look at your background, make sure that you are not I guess a felon, or I don't really know what they're looking for. No, these slides will not be shared to your email. These slides are available in your student portal. So the question was, will I be sharing these slides to your email? So no, all of these slides are available in the student portal. If you are, purchasing the class and you're going to move forward, you'll have access to every single one of these slides in your portal. Under the chapter 1 of the principles class, you'll see the slideshows are available, and this is for chapter 1. So you have to complete 45 hours of continuing education every 4 years. And let me tell you what, last year I had to do my continuing education. There's a lot of different ways that you can do your continuing education. It typically doesn't cost anything to do your continuing education. The California Association of Realtors, who you have to join to become a real estate agent, they provide you with the 45 hours of continuing education for free. And I will tell you right now, it takes every drop of 45 hours in order to complete it. There is no shortcuts there. It takes forever. But there's a few different ways that you can earn your 45 hours much more fun and social. There's a company out there that we'll talk about later that you can join up with them, and they are really good about getting you all of your continuing education hours, and they do it in a much more fun way.
Oh my goodness.
Eric? Oh, okay. Just make sure you didn't have a question. Okay, so you have to obey applicable laws and regulations. You can't go out there and be breaking the law. They will take away your real estate license. Now, if you want to become a broker, basically it's the same stuff. You have to complete the 8 college level courses. So right now you're going through 3 of them. There are 5 additional ones. They are basically it's like to become a broker, you have to take every elective instead of just choosing one. You have to take every single one of them. So you take 8 classes, and once you have your practice principles and finance out of the way, then you just choose the other 5, and then you can complete all those. You do have to be a real estate agent for 2 years unless you have completed all of the 8. No, that's not right. You have to have the 2 years experience, or you have to, I think there's a separate like college thing that you can go through. Like you can go through the college and you can get your experience that way. But the easiest way is to become a real estate license agent and stay active for 2 years, and then you can take the last of your courses and you can sit for your broker's exam. You can still be a broker and still be working under a different brokerage. We have a lot of associate brokers here in our office, and all over Keller Williams. Because to become a brokerage yourself, there are so many requirements. It is very cost prohibitive to actually become a broker. Like if I wanted to open up Bryan Collins Realtor, brokerage and not work under the Keller Williams name any longer and be my own company 100%, you have to have like a gajillion dollars in insurance. You have to have a brick and mortar store. So it's like you have to rent commercial space. There's so many different requirements, and it's just like, wow. Or I could just join Keller Williams, be an associate broker, and not have to worry about any of that stuff. So you still have 45 hours of continuing education. You still have to pay an additional fee, and you have to obey even more laws and regulations. So yeah, it's a deal. All right. So we covered this already. Real estate practice principles and elective course. You have to do your live scan fingerprints, and that gets submitted electronically to the Department of Justice. That's how they do the background check on you. Is it 45 hours for each license? No, you only have one license, so it's 45 hours. If you become a broker, you have like an upgraded license, so you just have to maintain your upgraded broker license. So your continuing education is similar but different. So you won't hold two licenses. Your license is either a salesperson's license or it's a broker's license. You won't have two separate licenses. So you don't want to break any laws. If you want to have a good real estate career, you want to make sure that if you're following all the rules. If you're not, your license can be suspended or revoked.
I told you to stay out the stand. I told you to stay out.
Sonia. Yeah, so they could fine you. You can have your license suspended for months. You can have it suspended for years. It can be bad. So don't do that. So here's the Department of Real Estate website, and let me see if this will even open. No. Let me show you. Oh wait, can you see that? Can you see the DRE website?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look at that. Okay. So this is the DRE website here. Licensees, that's me. Examinees, that would be you. So they have advice. There's some out-of-state applicants, which most of you should be in-state. E-licensing is the electronic portal. Here, how and where exams are scheduled, taking the exam. So if you want to look at this, you could say, oh, it's a 3-hour, 150 multiple choice question. If you're taking your broker exam, it's a 4-hour, 200 multiple choice question. You can bring acceptable forms of identification. Here's all the things that you are not allowed to bring into the room with you. They provide lockers. You have to lock everything up. You can't bring your cell phone, purse, wallet, glasses, smart glasses, keys, backpacks, briefcase, suitcase, food, drink, gum, study materials, tablets, PDAs, calculators, cameras, watches, pens, lapel. You can't bring a pen with you. They will provide you with a piece of paper. They will provide you with a pencil, and pretty much anything else. They want you in there basically with a shirt on, with some pants on. Go in there with your brain. That's it. So anyways, so that's what we're looking at. Nope, wrong one. So you can use that. It's dre.ca.gov. So you can go there and read about all of the things that you want to read about if you'd like to read about them. And yeah, you can bring your eyeglasses. You just can't wear smart glasses. You know, those, I don't know, those weird looking ones, which I don't feel like that's really even a thing, but I'm sure someone's tried to get in there with it. So they had to add it to the website of things you can't bring in with you, because that one guy decided to bring in his little Google Glass or whatever those things are called. All right. And at the end of each chapter, we're going to play a little thing called the brain game. So if you want to, if you remember what the answer is, by all means, shout it out. Type it as fast as you possibly can in the chat. You are given nothing for winning. It's just to see if you're still awake. So the first question is a neutral third party that protects the integrity of the transaction. Who's that?
Escrow.
There we go. Look at that. Love it. That is true. Escrow. The former chief officer of the DRE, Wayne Bell, held this position.
Real estate commissioner.
Real estate commissioner.
Tyler nailed it on the first try. Real estate commissioner. A salesperson is considered an employee of
The broker.
Broker.
that's right.
The brokerage company.
The brokerage or the broker. Both of those are acceptable answers. Give everybody a chance to catch up. Ready? A brokerage holds transaction records for this amount of time.
3 years.
3 years.
It's true.
3.
Yep. 3 is the answer. What are the 3 required courses needed to become a salesperson?
Real estate principal,
Finances, practice.
finance.
That's right.
Finance, principles, and practice.
Principles, practice, and
Finance.
so you could have said property management. That all would have counted. Real estate law, that works too. A little bit of an echo. Marcel, are you sitting with Johnny? Oh, he's muted, so never mind. Sometimes when 2 people are sitting in the same room listening on 2 different computers, it gets a little echoey. Yeah. All right. Last question for this chapter. An applicant must submit 1 set of fingerprints electronically to who?
Oh, gosh.
The DRE.
Department of Justice.
I stand.
Bureau of Real Estate.
Department of
Justice.
Justice. There it is. That's what we're looking for. Department of Justice. All right. Session 1 is complete. Here is session 2.
Are we doing 2 or 3 tonight?
We're just doing 2, 1 and 2.
Okay.
The nature of real property. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this floating thing. So California, a little history lesson here, is the 3rd largest state in land area, the most populous in the United States with almost 40 million people. And we have beaches, desert, valleys, foothills, and mountains. I know I was born here and then I moved away and I couldn't stay away, so I came back. I don't know if any of you guys are coming back from a different state or if you've always been here. We have any transplants? No? Everybody's all right.
I'm from
Yes.
St. Louis, Missouri originally.
From,
Michigan.
from what?
St. Louis, Missouri originally.
St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. Is
Detroit.
that's the one with the arches, right? The big arch?
Yep.
Yeah. I have been.
I'm from Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. All right. Who said that? Who said Philadelphia? I'm trying to look at my screen over here.
Eric.
You guys are all
Eric.
Oh, Eric. Oh, there you are. Okay. Eric's from Philadelphia. I have been to Philadelphia a few times. There we go. We got Providence, Rhode Island. We got a New Jersey.
Hawaii.
Nice. Guest is me. I don't know. Is that Maine?
Stephanie. I don't know why my name's not up.
Oh. Sorry.
From Hawaii, though.
Hawaii. Okay, cool. I have a cousin who lives in Hawaii. I don't know what island, so don't ask because I can never remember. I can't keep any of them straight. Megan, Anaheim, California is part of California. Yeah, Texas, India. Will's from Chicago. There you go. Nice. Love it. So, I mean, look at one of the great things about real estate is that everybody needs a house all over the country. So it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter. Most of my family lives in Arizona. I do a lot of business in Arizona because when all of my family, I've trained them to call me. Megan, that's funny. I've trained them to call me so that when they need a real estate agent, I can find them a real estate agent, because if I find them a real estate agent, that real estate agent has to pay me a referral fee. How much work do you think I have to do to earn a referral fee? Show of fingers. How much work do you think? Give you a goose egg. Nothing.
Zero.
I don't have to do crap. They pay me to find them. I say, hey, listen, my mom wants to sell her house. Make sure you take real good care of her, and you're going to send me 25% of whatever you make.
Wow.
That's the standard referral fee. Is 25%.
25%?
Yeah.
Not bad.
So you tell all of your people in New Jersey, Providence, India, Chicago, Anaheim, come on, Hawaii, all of these places. You just tell them, hey, when you think of real estate, you think of Will Hernandez. That's who you need to think of. You need to think of Tyler Watts. That's who you need to think of. Unless, Tyler, you don't have any family members outside of California, in which case then you're not going to worry about it. But even up here, look at what up here, up in Shasta County. You know what I mean? Like, you might know people up there. You can still earn money from all over the world in passive income just by picking up the phone. This year, I have made probably $14,000 just on referrals. I have people who call me from Texas. I have a lot of family in Texas. Most of my brothers live there. My family, all my in-laws, my parents, both sets of my parents. I have step parents. So I have 3 sets of parents that live in Phoenix. My brother in Wisconsin, I made money when he sold his house in South Dakota and moved to Wisconsin, and then he bought a house in Wisconsin. So I made money twice. There's so many different ways. So don't think that just because you don't know a lot of people right here in your area that you can't make money. That is 100% not true. And it's the easiest money. You can make half of your money for the entire year just off referrals. And all you have to do is pick up, find a good agent, and, find one that'll actually take phone calls. And then you usually have yourself a winner. I don't really talk about any of this stuff in the slide, but it's way better. It's way better to talk about free money. So let's see. Someone asked, how do you find agents in different states? Well, we have an internal system of Keller Williams agents called the Keller Williams White Pages. You can put in any city and state in the country. In fact, in most countries of the world, because we are an international real estate company. So you can find agents who work in those areas, and then you give them a call. In the command system, you actually have a map that you can look at, and you can narrow down to one specific neighborhood and find an agent that works in that area. I like to just call 3 or 4 of them and say, hey, I've got some business for you. And the first person to respond usually gets it. So it's very easy to find people all over the world. And you can even sort by, I like to choose people who only do like 4 or 5 transactions a year, because I kind of got a thing for the new people, you know what I mean? So I don't want to give my business to somebody who's going to pass it off to some other agent in their office or whatever. Like, I want somebody who's got a taste for it and who's like, man, I want every deal I can get this year. So I always find people who've done like 3 or 4 transactions a year, because they're usually the ones who are like, I'm going to give you my full attention, and, I'm going to make sure that this works out. And so far, so good. So I always look for agents who are just a little past the new stage, and but not quite so like, oh, I'm closing 20 deals a year. Yeah, good for you, buddy. You're not getting my business. So there's always somebody who'll give that guy business. So that's just not going to be me. So history of California, we got the Mexican-American War that began in May of 1846. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed in 1848. That ended the war with Mexico, and then California became a state and a part of the United States in 1850. The gold rush of 1849, San Francisco's population grew from 500 to 150,000 due to the explosion of the 49ers. Not the literal explosion of the 49ers, although some of those guys did get mixed up with the TNT and they did literally explode. So, sorry for those guys. So we had the housing bubble that popped in 2007 and, send our country, not even our country, our state, well, the country too, sent everybody into a spiral that was just crazy. Modest values of homes in the 60s and 70s had soared by the early 2000s. And then mortgage companies were basically just giving mortgages to every single person. You know, they were not really doing all the verifications that they needed to do. And it was kind of a mess. And then 2007, 2008, all the prices started to crash. Everybody was foreclosing because they had bubble, like a lot of those lenders and the, you know, a lot of the lending that was happening in the like late 90s, which really pushed the housing prices to go up in the early 2000s. Specifically like 97, 98 was a really high time for adjustable rate mortgages, which was, you know, I don't even like, I feel like adjustable, the arm mortgages is, you know, like basically like saying the Z word. We don't talk about that here. You know, they all had like 10-year balloon payments that they were promised that they'd be able to, the buyers were like, they're like, we'll put you in this adjustable rate mortgage. No big deal. Sure, you have a balloon payment due in 10 years, but between now and 10 years, you're going to refi into a conventional loan. It's not going to be any big deal. Your payment's going to stay the same. Let's just get you into this house now. And that's what happened. And then come 2007, 2008, all of these $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cash balloon payments were due. And someone's like, I don't have $50,000 to throw at my mortgage right now. Like, you know, it was crazy. Yeah, like Maria said, like interest rates back then were 10, 12, 13, 15%. Like right now we're at 2.65% in interest rate. Like it is unbelievable how low interest rates are right now. But back then you were crazy interest rates and they had a balloon payment. So that 2007, 2008, all those mortgages started just coming due and people were just like, I got to walk away. There's nothing I can do. I cannot come up with that money. So it was crazy. And most of you probably in 2008, 2007 were affected. I personally was working as a travel agent for American Express. I was a fantastic travel agent. I was in the top 5% of American Express as a global company. I was ridiculously good at my job. But American Express is a financial company. So when all of this financial crisis happened, they needed to cut their bottom 20% workforce. Who was included in that bottom 20? There was this guy right here. Even though I was one of the best employees in the company, I have the plaques to prove it. You know, but I was affected and I didn't even think twice about it. I had no idea what it was about because back then I didn't give a crap about real estate. And if you do want to find out a little bit more of a funny, you know, haha type thing, I feel like on Netflix, there's a movie called The Big Short, and it's all about what happened and kind of the behind the scenes and, you know, how that all came to be or whatever. And it's a really good movie with Steve Carell. I would highly recommend watching that tonight on Netflix if you have nothing else to do. Man, sorry. I feel like I'm talking like a madman today. Even though it's literally my job to just talk for 2 hours straight, like I still feel like I'm talking too much. So California median prices, you can kind of see here on this chart, you know, in 07, you know, late part of 07, we were at the highest ever. The median price in California was over 600,000. And you can see that drop dramatically. And then just, you know, that was a big crash. But you can see here, and this is what you're going to have to explain this so many times to people in your career. You know, there's always going to be someone like, I'm waiting for the market to crash. Like, all right, well, wait all you want. Because, you know, the likelihood of us entering into another crash like this is not, I don't feel like it is as possible as it was before, because we have so many now different laws and lending practices that make sure that people are actually vetted and they're absolutely able to do this. Now, this COVID thing definitely threw a monkey wrench in because, you know, people who were very responsible or whatever, some people have had problems with their, you know, their job, that, you know, a lot of people lost their jobs and everything like that. And we had the EDD, you know, the unemployment insurance that everybody was able to receive, which of course is great and fantastic. But doesn't necessarily mean that it was 100% of, you know, what they were making. So, but even with all of that stuff right now, there are still a lot of people who are out there buying, you know, and it's the housing shortage, because I think that people feel a lot more safer in their homes. And so there's a lot of people out there who may have thought about selling their home, but they're like, I don't think now's the time for me to sell my house. It's creating a shortage of inventory. I feel like in my area right now, there are less than 400 homes right now on the market as we speak. There's normally 2,000 to 3,000 homes on the market in our area. It's crazy. I mean, homes are, almost every one of my listings that I've had, I always list my homes on Wednesday. Wednesdays are statistically proven to earn more money. I don't know why. Thursdays are the days that you want to list if you want to get an escrow faster. That's typically and statistically proven. But every single one of my homes I listed on Wednesday before Sunday, we were in contract. We had multiple offers. My house in Whittier, we listed for $590. We showed the house every single half hour from Thursday until Sunday, every single half hour from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. My seller was exhausted and she hated me for a whole 3 days. But we got 22 offers and we got $70,000 over list price. So my seller does not hate me anymore. She loves me a lot. And we have a fantastic 17-day escrow that we're going to go through. So instead of 580, we've got 651. So that's $61,000 over list. And it took 4 days and it took 67 showings. So it was a very intense 4 days. And then I listed a home in Adelanto for $210,000 and we got $225,000 in 1 day. We only had to show the house 1 day before he got sick and tired of showing the house. So he was like, yep, we'll take that offer. But we got 12 offers in 1 day. I had my Hesperia listing was on the market for 4 days. We got $26,000 over list in 3 days. I mean, it's crazy. And then I have 3 buyers who we've had to be really super aggressive with our offers because the buyers, it's so hard to see, it's so hard to get your offer accepted. You have to come in fast. If your buyer's going with the mindset, well, I know it's 300,000, but I really want to offer him 280. Like that dude is going to be laughed at because they're getting offers. One of my clients, they were looking at a house. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. It's $180,000. I told her that if you're not willing to pay at least 200, like they're not going to even consider your offer. So we ended up with 211. I talked to the agent. She gave me enough information that I could make an educated guess on what their highest offer was. And we are going to beat that by at least $3,000. And hopefully we are going to win that bid. And if we are, then I will consider it to be a miracle because she's only put in 1 offer. And typically right now you're putting in 4 or 5 offers before you find someone who is actually willing to work with you. It's just the market and where it is. And it's crazy. So it's so busy right now. Like it can't even right now. So medium homes, this is December 2019. This is completely out of date and nothing in here is even probably accurate a little bit. So we're just going to skip right over that. Yeah, so I mean, most of the forbearances, someone put in there, Maria put in there that short sales once again, and once forbearances started becoming due and payable, and that is true. However, a lot of those forbearances are coming true because they were only 3-month forbearances. So in March, when they started doing forbearances, and I feel like right away, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I can call up and try and get this forbearance. I feel like right away, everybody in the industry, lenders, real estate agents, we all work together and told people, it's like, if you cannot do a forbearance, it is 100% in your best interest to not do a forbearance. And there were some people who didn't get that message fast enough or, whatever, they decided to do it anyways, because they didn't have a choice. And of course it was available to them. But the banks are working with people right now. I know personally of 3 people who took forbearance. Their forbearance is due in the end of June, July. And the bank is now working with them and basically splitting up their forbearance. And we're all trying to get through this. You know what I mean? Like even the banks, they're like, yeah, we'll let you do a forbearance, and you put it off for a certain amount of time, but even the banks then were just like, we're not really sure how we're going to work this. So we're just going to kind of do this. some of the bigger banks are, being a little bit more jerkish about it, I guess. There's not really a nice way to say that. So I'm trying to figure out if I wasn't live on YouTube right now, I would be having a totally different conversation. But those types of things are I feel like everybody's working together to try and figure this out. Nobody wants to see anybody fail. And it's very expensive for a bank doesn't want to short sale their property. A short sale, if you don't know, is when you sell the house for less than what it's worth. So you may owe $350,000. This was a big thing in the early 2000s, 2007, 2008, 2010. You bought your house in 2004, 2005 for $500,000, but after the crash, your home was only worth $350,000. Well, you wanted to sell it, you wanted to get out from underneath it because there was nothing you could do. You weren't able to, not able to make the payment anymore or whatever. You would short sale it. So the bank would basically take an acceptable loss on the property and sell it for $350,000 or $355,000 or whatever they could get for it. But the bank would still lose $200,000 on it because you still owed $500,000. So that is essentially what a short sale is. You're selling short of what the actual value is. So there's no equity in the property. But it's very expensive for banks to do that. They don't want to lose, $200,000 because somebody can't, do a 3-month forbearance or whatever. So they're working with people. It's very expensive to, foreclose on a property if they're not paying their forbearance or whatever. Like foreclosures are really expensive for the bank, for the person that has to do it. There's legal fees, there's lawyers involved, there's court costs and all of these things, not to mention all the money that they're losing because they're not, earning their interest rate anymore. So I honestly believe that we will not see as many short sales as a lot of people think that we're going to, because the banks are going to try and salvage as much as they can. And if they can give another extension, if they can, take their forbearance and maybe divide it up over 10 equal payments, divided over a year, I think that they're going to do something like that. Can't hold me to it because I'm not a lender and that's not my job, but that's how I feel like it's going to go. I think that we're all trying to work together in this. Your bundle of rights. When you own a house, you have a bundle of rights. You have the right to use the property as you wish, lawfully. You cannot buy a house and make meth in it. It's not legal. You can't do it. They will take away your house and, a lot of other things of yours. You have the right to use your house any way you want, your property any way you want, as long as it's within the law. You have the right to possess your property. So you have the right to live on it, and you have the right to exclude others. So people, you don't want people, get off my lawn, that whole thing. You have the right to kick people off your lawn if you want. Transfer. So you have the right to sell it, gift it, or will it. You can do whatever you want with your property. It is yours. That doesn't mean that the people that you're gifting it to, or you're giving it to, or you're selling it to, doesn't mean that you may be free of the tax liability, which we will talk about in depth. But you have the ability to do anything you want with it. You have the right to encumber your property. Encumber means you are using it as collateral to borrow funds. So you can get a home equity line of credit. You can get a home equity loan. You can, buy solar panels and put a lien on your property. You have that right because it is yours. You're allowed to encumber it any way you want. And you have the right to enjoy your property without interference from others. Again, as long as it's in a lawful manner. For those fun people that like to light off fireworks, in June, that is not lawful. So you do not have the right to do that. However, they still do. And I had to replace $400 of fence because my dog freaked out. That was not fun. I had the right to replace $400 of fence because my dog is ridiculous. So real versus personal property. Real property is immovable. It's land, or it's anything attached or affixed to the land, or anything that's incidental or appurtenant to the land. Like trees. Trees are real property because they are inside the land. And anything that is attached belongs to the new owner. Personal property is movable. Typically it's furniture, clothes, jewelry, art, housewares, appliances, that sort of thing. There are things that are installed appliances that would typically be considered real property, but it's also kind of considered personal property, like the microwave that mounts over the stove. It's a microwave. It's personal property, but it's mounted over the stove. It's part of the kitchen, essence. So it's kind of also real property. It's a real gray area. Anything that you want, you put it in writing. Some personal property can be negotiated into a transaction. That is true. So if you want the microwave over the stove, to be sure that it stays there, you include it in your contract and you include it in writing to say microwave over the stove. So a fixture is something that is affixed to a person or affixed to a building by a person, not affixed to a person by a building, because that would be terrifying. Personal property that can become real property when it's attached to the land. So a chandelier, a ceiling fan, a ceiling fan is attached to the ceiling. It's not something that you move, like a floor fan would not be attached to anything. So a ceiling fan would be technically considered real property. So annexation is when personal property is added to real property. So a ceiling fan added to the ceiling becomes annexed to the house. And severance is, of course, removing a fixture from the real property. So you can see here the picture is the same ceiling fan. Actually, it's a totally different ceiling fan. You couldn't even use the same ceiling fan. So real property fixture test is the method of attachment. The stronger it's attached, the greater probability it's a fixture. So again, something that's like bolted into the masonry and like sealed on with, silicone and painted to match the house and everything, most likely that is going to be 100% attached to the property. Something that maybe is just plugged into the wall and screwed in with a couple of screws, probably not real property. So the adaptability of the item. So the greater degree of adaptation for the land's or ordinary purposes, the greater the likelihood that there is a fixture. So anything custom for a home. So if you have mini blinds that are, you have a window that's 30 inches wide, not the standard 48 or something, and you have to have custom mini blinds for it. Those mini blinds, you could take them off, but it's not going to fit just in any window. It was made for that window. A pool cover. If you have a, weird shaped pool and you have a pool cover on the pool, it's made for that pool and that pool only. It will not work for other pools. So it most likely would be considered real property and should stay with the pool. So the relationship of the party. So a tenant who attaches something to a property has a better chance of claiming that it was personal property because the tenant only has a leasehold agreement on their property. They are not the actual owners of the property, so they could say, hey, that was my property. I put that on there. So the intention of a party when attaching an item. So if the tenant decides to install an alarm system or, they say, hey, I'm going to take this with us when I leave, then obviously that is going to be personal property. But if they don't, if your landlord walks up and you would put in a Nest thermostat, they might say, oh, well, that Nest thermostat's awesome. Thanks for installing that on my house. If you don't say, hey, well, that's coming with me when I move, I have the old one or something like that, most likely you're going to have to leave that. And of course, if there's anything clarified in a residential purchase agreement or something that's in the MLS, a lot of times in the MLS, you'll see items that are specifically included or specifically excluded from the sale of the home. Sometimes people really love that chandelier over the entranceway. It's a crystal family heirloom, blah, 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 whatever. They'll say that this is not included in the sale of the home. So you are well aware right at the beginning that it's, personal property and not real property. So here we go. Number one, you have these little purple lights here. What are those? What do you think those are? Personal or real property?
Real.
Yeah. That would be probably the best guess. Real property. Unless somebody said, hey, the purple lights are coming with us. I had somebody who was selling a house that had a really gorgeous custom pool table with this custom light fixture. And they wanted to leave the pool table, but they didn't want to they wanted to take the light fixture. and they said it was cheaper to move because obviously pool tables are freaking expensive to move. But it matched the pool table, and it also matched all of the rest of the room. They had like the trim to match the pool table. It was they were Laker fans, so everything was purple and gold. They had all this in the room, all these trim pieces that were purple and gold, and so the light matched perfectly. So, you know, we had to kind of talk to them and say, hey, all of this is custom to this room. It's all custom to this pool table. If you're leaving one, you kind of have to leave all of it. So eventually he agreed, and you know, we found a buyer who was willing to take it. So here's the microwave over the stove. Was that real or is that personal property?
Real. Kind of 50-50.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely could be real property. If somebody got real bajiggity about it, they could say, "Nah, I'm going to take that with me." So that could be considered personal property. Love is patient. Little decor here from Hobby Lobby. Personal property for sure. That's something that's just tacked up on the wall, most likely with command strips, but maybe even a thumbtack and some wire. Who knows? We got a stove here. What's a stove?
Real
property.
Real property. Most of the time, stoves are considered to be real property because they are installed to the gas line. If it is an electric stove, though, a lot of time electric stoves are considered personal property because it's just plugged into the wall and sits freestanding on the floor. So again, it can be a real kind of up in the air thing. So there's a spot in the contract in every purchase agreement that very specifically says that stoves, refrigerators, washer, and dryers are the three main things that everybody asks for. So they're listed in the contract that already have a little checkbox. And then of course you have a space to write anything else, the dishwasher, whatever. Dishwashers are typically installed under the counter. They're, you know, fully installed. Eric, you're not muted. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you real quick. So yeah, so the chairs, the table stools here, these are gonna be personal. Or
That's
these
personal.
Personal. They're gonna be personal. When in doubt, write it out in the purchase agreement. You know, ask for it. What's the worst they can do? Say no. So land description. Actually, let me see real quick. Does anybody have any questions about personal or real property?
No.
No?
What about curtains?
Curtains. I mean, those are typically anchored to a wall, so you could argue that they're personal.
Yeah.
Window treatments typically, though, will stay with the house, unless, you know, they're handmade lace curtains that, you know, grandma passed down to me or whatever, something like that. Then the seller might say, I'm taking the curtains with me. As a real estate agent, you do need to go and you need to ask those types of things when you're taking a listing. Tell me all of the things that you're taking with you. You know, are you taking the blinds with you? Are you taking down the curtains? Are you going to take your refrigerator? Are you going to leave it for the new people? Are you taking your washer and dryer? Or when you sell it, you're going to leave everything and go buy new stuff? You know, these are things that you have to think about. And I guarantee you, your first few listings, you will forget. You won't even think about it. And then you'll go to put it all in the MLS and you'll go, oh crap, I didn't ask them anything. So we have systems in place and things that'll help you learn to take, you know, all of those notes down, honestly, before you even see the house. When you first meet them as a lead, you know, you usually get most of that information. So that's something that you get to look forward to, that kind of training. Let's talk about land descriptions. So when real property changes hands, they have to describe the land that's involved in the transaction using a legal description. Because you can't just say 5 acres in the middle of the desert. That's not specific enough. So there is a very specific way that people describe land. Typically it is typically it's, you know, if the map is already if the area that the land is in has already been parceled out into lot sizes and numbers and all that good stuff, then you can use, you know, the assessor's parcel number is the number one way to identify a parcel. If there's no home built on it, it's not going to have an address. So if a house is built on there, though, typically there's an address that is assigned to that house. So you can obviously find a property by the address. And then also they'll have a legal description, which is going to include a whole bunch of really short little terms that exactly plot out the northwest southeast corner of the land and how long and what the it's a crazy, you'll see these eventually, and they're very long, and eventually we'll get into some descriptions, and I'll pull up a couple examples of these kind of descriptions, and they're pretty intense. And it's like the 33rd most northwesterly feet of the 90th parallel, and I mean, it's literally a very precise description that only the people in the government can read that. I don't know. It's nothing you have to know, but it is very interesting. Sometimes you'll just see it'll say tract 5 plot 4, because it's in that area that's already parceled out, further from just having the assessor's parcel number. Each plot has, whether it's 4,000 square feet or if it's 25 million acres, it has an assessor's parcel number. They're either called APNs, sometimes they're called AINs, assessor's identification number, something like that. They're different in different counties, but most of the time, if you say APN, most people know what you're talking about. Yeah. So U.S. section and township surveys. So a system of describing land for new territories or states and public lands. It forms a grid of imaginary lines to locate land. These lines were drawn every 6 miles. So meridian lines go north and south, and then baselines go east and west. So if you guys know where baseline is in, the Inland Empire, it's called baseline because that is one of the baselines for one of these 6 mile, plots. So I'll tell you right now, before I got into real estate, I'd never had to learn, I guess, for any of the things that I ever did, that there were 5,280 feet in a mile, 43,560 square feet in an acre. That one you will use all the time, 43560. You'll use that all the time because everything is usually in square footage. So you go, wait a minute, it's 20,000. What is an acre? Okay, an acre is 43. So 20,000 is a little less than a half. Okay, so it's a little less than a half an acre. Okay, you got to figure that one out. And then you have 640 acres in 1 square mile. And then, of course, with these township is 6 square miles. So you're looking at whatever, again, I'm terrible at math, 640 times 6. Yeah, I think that's the math on it. So these are definitely things that when you get into your exams, I feel like you will be expected to remember some of these numbers here. How many acres in a square mile, how many square feet in an acre, that sort of thing. I still can't remember how many feet is in a mile, 5280. One of these days I'll have that memorized, but so far 5 years in, never needed it. 5280. But 43,560, whoo, I know that one. So you can see here, this is kind of a little township diagram. You have, 1 square mile. One of these is 1 square mile, and then you have 6 square miles. Oh, so it's 36 sections. So it's 640 times 36. That's how many acres is in a township. And then you have the meridian lines, and you have the baselines. So when you get these descriptions, and I think, do they? No, okay. So I thought for sure they kind of went into one of these. Maybe I can find one. Hold on, let me just real quick see if I can find one, because you never know when you're going to need to look at one of these. Where's my? Okay, let me see if I've got a good one here. Please hold. Oh, here we go. While we're doing that, I'll look at this question here. It says, is it the agent's job to write out all the personal property that the buyer wants? And can the seller ask for more money since they'll be leaving personal property? You cannot, personal property cannot be given a value. Because what happens is when the appraiser comes in, let's just say they left a pool table, a dining room set, and a full kitchen or full living room furniture, couches and tables, right? And they said, okay, well, we want $20,000 for it. So you added $20,000 to the price. So you purchased a home for, instead of $500,000, you purchased a home for $520,000. the appraiser is going to come in and say, is this house worth $520,000? And if you go, and I learned this the hard way, if you go, well, yeah, no, the house isn't worth 520, but they left, furniture and all this. But this is more than $20,000 worth of furniture. And they go, yeah, this is personal property. We don't value personal property. We only value real property in an appraisal. So the house has to appraise for $520,000 by itself. So all property left in the all personal property left in the real property has to be sold without value and without warranty. That is pretty much how all of that has to be done. That's the verbiage you will use in your contracts. You will say, pool table to be left without value, without warranty. Now, if they want to throw in a couple $1,000s for the pool table, that is their deal, but the house has to appraise for that amount without the value of the pool table. All right, give me 1 second here. All right. I was trying to see if I had a decent thing that I could show you that had a good. All right, this one's pretty neat. This one's pretty good. Let me see if I can put this one up here. Now I just have to figure out where I can share my screen at. Here we go. Stop share. Holy moly. Share screen. Okay. So you should be able to see this right here. So this is a piece of land that we're selling here. This is the legal description. It says District 13, abbreviated description is District 13, the city of Victorville. So here we have Section 34, TWP, 7 North, RNG, 5 West, South, 1/2 South, 1/2 Northwest. I mean, this is, I don't know what any of this stuff means. Obviously I know what Northwest means and the 1/4 section of 34. So this is referring to one of these plots of, so one of these sections here is obviously section 37, because if you're looking here, it keeps referring to section 34, 10 acres. So we're looking at 10 acres inside section 34, which would be right around here in this little diagram. You know what I mean? Like, so they can get real super complicated real quick. All right. All right. And let's see. Legal description of a piece of land is always included with property as transferred by sale. You'll find it on the grant deed, on the quitclaim deed, or on a preliminary title report, which is what we were just looking at. That's what I was showing you as a preliminary title report. And then at the bottom of it, well, here, hold on a second. Let me see if I can go back into it. Where is it? So at the bottom here, you can see that this is where the land, or actually this is where the land is here, and this is a comparable. And then at the very back here is the plat map, which I can turn over this way and zoom in. And then I can look for section 34 here, and then parcel. No, let me see, what was the. So the APN number is this number right here, 4602534. So I can look for 25304. 253. No, this is a terrible copy. Usually you get better copies when you get them officially. So 3, I think this is 04 right here, because this one is 03. So this 10 acres right here would be my property as my client's property. And, you guys, after about 50,000 of these, you get real good at finding and what they mean. So. All right. Are we responsible to enter the property information? So yes, you will be responsible for entering in property information on, you know, on your listings. That's what you got to do. 829. All right, look at this. This is pretty much the end. So for all of you newbies out there, you want to complete the online quizzes. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to answer all the questions. We'll open it up for 20 minutes or whatever, and I'll answer all your questions. Complete your online quizzes, which means you're going to go through, you're going to read all of the textbook material, because we don't cover everything in the textbook in these first couple chapters. Again, high level overview, real life contextual information, that sort of thing. If you have questions about the material, you can always email me, bryancollins@kw.com, BRYAN Collins@kw.com. Again, I already emailed you once, so you should have my email address. But you want to go through and complete quizzes 1 and 2. If you have not signed up yet and you don't have access to the portal, it's okay. If you sign up tomorrow or by Wednesday or whatever, you can go back on and do the quizzes. Or you can wait until the end, the off week, and you can take the quizzes then. A lot of people like to do that. They do all the reading and they kind of go through the classes, and then the off week, they kind of buckle down and do all the quizzes and take the final for that time. But make sure you review the textbook material, because there's so much information in there. And frankly, I feel like I used to tell people that the textbook material was only good for passing your tests and that was it. But I actually helped a person, one of my clients, my eucalyptus listing, I actually helped her with a tax question because of my real estate practice book. So, it's good information to have. Online quizzes will reflect the textbook material, not necessarily everything we talked about here. So online quizzes are open book. So definitely use your notes. Let's play the brain game, and then I will let you guys answer all the questions.
Let's see the brain game.
Brain game. All right. California became a state in what year?
1849.
Nope.
1850.
48.
1849.
1850. It became a state after the 49er rush, right? That's weird.
Yeah, 1 year after.
I feel like that's typical politicians. They wait until the gold's found and then they go and make a state,
Yeah, because it has to have some kind of value,
Exactly. So the bundle of rights consists of UPD. What is UPD?
Use, possess, transfer, encumber,
and enjoy.
You guys are on top of it. I don't think I've ever had anybody answer all of them. Usually you use it like use and possess. That's about it. When personal property is added to real property, it is called
annexation.
There you go. Was that Marcel?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I knew it was you. It's like you always get the most obscure answers right. On top of it, annexation is right. That's when you add personal property to like a ceiling fan. You add that to your ceiling, that becomes private or becomes real property. That is annexation. Yeah, and then I don't know why they tell us right now, but all the new students must remain for the next slide. So for you guys who have, this is your second or third month or whatever, you guys can log off after we finish the brain game. You don't have to stay for the answers. If you want to stay for the question and answer, 100%, absolutely go ahead and do it. No, there's no shame in it. Someone might have asked something you haven't thought of yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which acronym do we use to determine if an item is a fixture?
Maria.
Maria. Is it Maria?
RPA.
What? No, I think it's Maria. Yeah, it's Maria. If it's immovable, it can be land. It can be a fixture. It is
real property.
Real property. That is true. And then last but not least, never least, what does APN stand for?
Parcel with the N.
APN.
Parcel number, something. Access parcel number.
Parcel number.
Assessor's parcel number.
There you go.
Something parcel number.
Not working.
The assessor's parcel number.
A proud nation.
Right. Okay. Yeah, look, we already went through all this. This time they got the arrows right, so we know that it's a big circle here. We're going to cover 3 courses in the month. The pricing options again, $3.99 for the in-class. You get this experience twice a week, 3 weeks for the next 3 months. If you want textbooks, you can do the hard copy textbooks. There's of course the course videos and crash course videos that you can purchase separately. If you're a real go-getter and you want to do this all by yourself, no hard feelings. I'll still be here to answer your questions when you have them. Online is $154.99. You can go through it a little bit faster on your own, but it's not nearly as fun. You will fall asleep way more listening to, the book. Just letting you know. It's fine if you don't want to hang out with me, but just letting you know, it's way more fun. If you want to make payments, there's the payment schedule here. And these are with the ebooks here. So if you want to pay for the additional class, no, you don't get your money back if you go through it faster. Sorry, Sammy. That's a good question though. There you go. So session 2 is complete. I know y'all got questions. I got the answers. I don't have all the answers. I have some of the answers, and I will try to go through as many of them as I can, but I do not have all the answers. So what do you got for me? What's your questions? There are classes in West Hollywood. I know the team leader just talked to her today. That they do classes, but they're not doing the in-class training like this in West Hollywood right now. I am the West Hollywood teacher. I do the teaching for West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Victor Valley, Inland Empire, West Covina. I think there's 7 market centers that I teach. So, but some of the market centers are still open for some of their agent trainings, that sort of thing. So if you want to find out if there's agent trainings available, which typically I recommend not going to start doing those until you're into your 3rd month. It just can get a little overwhelming and a little bit more hectic as you get going. No, usually only the first class of the first month is live on YouTube, in order, to let people watch and do that sort of thing. But the classes are not typically recorded, unfortunately. All you have to do is just sign up. All you have to do is just sign up. I'm sorry, I was going to say Sammy, but I don't think that's right. So, Samé. All you have to do is sign up, and just you can either tell them that you want me as your instructor, or if you just sign up, I feel like you're just default because you're already here. So anybody who's here right now, if you sign up, I will most likely be your teacher. Also, Johnny, I talked to the school or whatever, and you're totally fine to just to stay here. I don't know why you were assigned to a different instructor.
Is there a different class
okay.
I should sign up with?
Huh?
I'm in Ocean Beach, San Diego. Is there a different class I should sign up with that would be closer to me?
No, because we're still teaching all the same. You're going to get the same instruction, the same material. Yeah, it's until you actually start going to do your agent, like once you get your license and you start going into your market center for agent specific training, like, systems and, all that stuff or whatever, then you'll go to your market center. But for just the classes, I take care of it.
So we just call that number tomorrow, or can we do it tonight?
But you, well, I don't know if they're open tonight. I think you
It's not open.
if you want to do it
tomorrow,
online,
right?
you can do CaliforniaRealtyTraining.com, and you can just you can sign up for it that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
For
otherwise
the
you have to
full
call in the
course,
morning.
where you get the books and all that.
Yeah.
You can do the full thing through there.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so let me see. I'm gonna try to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Someone asked about a felony that had been expunged. I will have to find out for you. If you go to the DRE website, it does very clearly talk about that, but I have some paperwork that I can show you that will explain it, and you will be able to get that. So private message me your email address, and then I will get that to you. Okay. If you go through it faster, you don't get your money back. That's just more benefit to you. There are classes in West Hollywood. Not live on YouTube. Covered that one. what has been my total income since I started in real estate? That is a great question. Also, not anything I'm going to answer. I mean, look, when my first year in real estate was a lazy year, I thought that I was going to, I did 4 transactions. I honestly thought that that just the universe was going to throw money at me and I was just going to do it. So I closed 4 transactions, thought I was the king of the universe, and I didn't lead generate. I didn't do anything to go out there and find new business. And for 7 months after those 4 transactions, I sat there and I did nothing. So my first year I made $17,000. The next year I got real, I decided to quit my full-time job. I jumped full feet into this with no income, just hated my job so much. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to work my ass off is what I'm going to do. So I went and I doubled my transactions, and frankly, I doubled my money for the next year. So my second year and my third year was right around the same at about $30,000 or $40,000 each year. And then 2018, I had a mindset change, and I realized that I was looking at all those people who were like, oh, look at all the, I'm looking at everybody do all the real estate deals. And I'm just like, why can't I do that? And I realized it was because I was being a lazy idiot. Like, that's just how it was. Like, I wasn't doing all of the things that I had to do. I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do. And once I realized that I was the only person holding myself back from making $150,000 a year, it changed instantly for me. I started coming at people from a place of service, and not so much like, hey, I want to try and sell you something. But I was like, hey, look, I provide a service. If you would like to use my service, I would love to help you out. If you don't want to use my service, maybe you know somebody who does, and I'm going to leave it at that. I used to door knock and be real aggressive and try and talk to people, and just be like, oh yeah, I want you to sell your house with me, and I do all these things or whatever. And I feel like it turned a lot of people off. I get yelled at a lot, lots of doors slammed in my face. I'm not one of those people that takes it really super personally, but it's really hard to have your door slammed in your face like 6,400 times. It gets really discouraging. But once I went up there and I knocked on the door and I said, hi, my name is Bryan Collins. I'm your realtor. I live right down the street from you. I just want to know if you've ever considered selling your house. Man, today is the day to do it. No, I've never considered selling my house. That's fantastic. I just want to let you know that I'm available to help you. I'm your neighbor. I live right down the street. If you have any questions, here's my card. See you later. And they would kind of look at me like, what? Oh, you're not going to sit here and try and work your way into my door or anything? It's like, no, man, I'm done. I gave you what I came to here for. I'm going to go to the next house and I'm going to do this. Every year, for 4th of July, I decided I'm going to print up a little recipe for something that's super easy to make for 4th of July. Me and my kids, we went and I door knocked about 250 doors. I didn't door knock them. All I did was hang them inside I just put them inside the screen. I didn't push the doorknob. I didn't do anything. I didn't bother one person. And I would just hang them on their door and just go. And I just covered entire neighborhoods like that. And it was just, hey, happy 4th of July. I live down the street. This is my neighborhood too. I want you to have a great 4th. Here's a really cool recipe that you can use that doesn't require any cooking in a kitchen. And, you can use it today at your barbecue. Here's my magnet. I have a business card magnet that I had printed up, 1,000 years ago that I still hand out. And I just left them for people. When I was walking out of neighborhoods, I'd have people like, hey man, that was really cool. Thanks for the receipt, not the receipt, for the recipe. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, it looks like it's really good. I might have my wife make it right now. Like, it's something that almost everybody has ingredients to. It's just such a small thing. But I started coming at people with service. I'm not here to bug you. I'm not here to force you into doing anything. I'm going to leave you my information. And hopefully after I've touched you 3, 4, 5, or 6 times with my business card, with, my recipes, with my happy Labor Days, with my, my flags in your yard for Memorial Day, whatever it is, all of my unobtrusive things that are not involving you in me being having personal contact. One of these days, somebody's going to go, oh yeah, I want to sell my house. And you'll be like, I think there's this guy that comes around my house all the time. This Bryan Collins guy. I'm going to give him a call and see if he wants to help you out. Man, he seems really cool. He left recipes for me last 4th of July, whatever. Once I started coming at everything that way, I feel like my life changed, my business changed. I went from my goal this year is 50 transactions. And frankly, at the beginning of the year, I was like, man, this is not something that's really gonna, maybe it's not even gonna happen. I think maybe that goal was too aggressive because last year I did 18 transactions. So my goal this year is obviously to double my transactions. Every year I'm doubling my transactions, whatever it was I did before, because the money will come. If I do 25 land deals, but I do 40 other, or for 30 other, residential deals, I still did way more transactions than I did last year, and I'm going to make way more money. So I just focus on doing the transactions and making sure that my transactional goal is met and that my level of service is always 100% for every single transaction. This year, I got to add someone to my team. So now there's 2 of us, me and Marlene. We handle all the transactions. She's she handles all my buyer leads, and she works them, and that's fantastic. And then we work together on the listings, and I do most of my listings, and most of the referrals, almost all my business is referral business. So right now I'm at So now I'm at 23 transactions for the year, and I'm well on my way to hitting my goal of 50,000, which I thought was going, or 50 transactions, what I thought was not going to happen at all. But I said, I'm going to do it. I believe that I'm going to do it. I live my life every single day like I've already done it. And then I don't have to worry about it because it'll just happen. I 100% believe once you get into the mindset and not like, oh yeah, I think that it's going to happen and I'm going to really work on it for it to happen or whatever. Like, you have to immerse yourself in it and 100% believe it, that it's going to happen. And it just manifests itself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that is, but it's crazy. So this year I am definitely on my way, well on my way to making the most I've ever made in real estate or made in my entire life. Probably combined of every year I've worked since I was 16, I've probably not made as much money as I've made so far this year. So it's been a fantastic year. A lot of questions. See, I started talking, I get real passionate about stuff, and now there's 50,000 questions I'm going to catch up on. Is the online training videos and slides are, so the online training, the videos are separate. The online videos are not, they're I think it's $120. It's an add-on that you can use. It goes really in depth into the books and stuff like that we don't do here, that you would normally do on your own, but it's an additional feature. But you get the ebook that you can read by yourself, and then you have the slides that I go through so that you can kind of supplemental those if you need to. Someone asked if I own my own investment properties in state or out of state. I do not currently. That was what got me into real estate. I really wanted to be in real estate so that I could have a bunch of properties. This year is probably going to be the turning point of that, because I've got my eye on a few different properties that I would like to pick up. So that's probably going to change this year. Let's see. Yes, I will email all of you who sent me your email addresses. Okay. Oh, Maria already left. That's fine. Thank you. Is there a minimum amount of transactions you have to close per year without it? So that's the great thing about real estate. You are your own boss, and you don't have, we have agents here who have not done one transaction in 5 years that I've been here. They got their license because they thought it'd be some fun to do. They do it on the side, and they just never really did anything. There are no minimums. You work for yourself. Nobody's going to kick you out of Keller Williams if you don't want to do transactions. We have agents that just do 1 or 2 a year because they do it part-time. They have a full-time job. So, they just do it on the side. They do it for their coworkers, and they find their family members or whatever. It's totally, totally acceptable to do any minimum amount you want. I like to think that, you're going to want to do like 20 or 30 a year at least, and then go from there. Build a team, become a mega agent, make $3 or $4 million a year. It's fine. We like those numbers. Once you get into it though, real estate is so much fun. Once you get past this part and you have to learn everything or whatever, when you get real comfortable, I think right around 6 transactions, it's like once you've done a few buyers, you've done a few sellers, you've kind of seen a lot of what's going on, then you can really go like, man, I freaking love this job. That's how I wake up every morning. Like, even on my most stressful day, man, I still love this job way more than any other job I've ever had in my entire life. And there's been a lot of stressful days. I mean, you know, when you're handling someone, you got a first-time home buyer who's buying a house for $500,000, and they're pulling money from their 401k and every dime that they've ever saved, and you're thinking to yourself, shit, did I give them the best deal that I could possibly give them? Like, you've got butterflies, and you want to make sure that your contract is super on point because you don't want to mess up their deal. Like, you don't want to spend their money and have them lose out on the, you know, the chance to own their own house, and you know, their entire life they've been working toward this moment, and you get to be the person that puts them in there. On closing day, handing them their keys, man, it make me cry right now just talking about it. Like, it is amazing. It's like watching your kids being born, you know, like people are they just love you so much. They're just like, I can't even believe you did this for me. Like, most of the people, like, look, at my last job, I worked in a warehouse. I wore a bandana, I wore shorts, I wore Dickies, you know, a black t-shirt, and like that was my uniform every single day. Now I wear polos and stuff like that. And so when I would help these people who knew me then, they're like, man, you are such a different person from, you know, when I knew you working in a sweaty ass warehouse, you know, 14 hours a day. It was crazy. So, you know, it's just one of those things that it's a fantastic feeling, but you should always be nervous. I feel like the day you're not nervous is the day you're not doing your job right, because you are way too comfortable and you are asking for something to mess up. Every single time I get a new sorry, I just saw someone wrote video in the chat. Every time I get a new buyer, every time I get a new seller, man, I am so nervous before I meet them. Like, I got butterflies. I'm just like, oh, is this going to be the one I really screw up this time? So I make sure that my level of service is always 100%. I write out everything that I do for every client so that I always can maintain the same thing all the time. That's what a system is repeating the things that you do consistently and making sure that you have that ability to, I have a checklist that's 45 different things long that says, when I get a new listing, these are exactly the same things that I do. And I do it every single time until one of those things really doesn't, work out or something. And maybe I need to change it. Then I can tweak it a little bit and do it from there. It's all about consistency, because if you can provide consistency, you will always have business. Okay. Yes, Kelly, I will be your instructor since you live in West Hollywood. And then I will introduce you when you're ready. If you would like, I can introduce you and set up a meeting with the West Hollywood team leader. She's really awesome. I just talked with her today. Yeah, and Renee, just choose you just choose whatever area that's closest to you, because it's all online. It doesn't really matter. And if you get assigned to a different team leader, honestly, it really doesn't matter. We just say, hey, that's not where this person is. They're going to go to this market center. It's all just for tracking. There's nothing set in stone. So you don't have to worry about it. What's the broker percentage on sales currently at Keller Williams? Yeah, so typically for some brokerages, your new agent splits is going to be 50-50. If you're a brand new agent, 50% of your commission goes to your broker, 50% goes to you. So if you're making, sorry, I get calculator. So if you got a $500,000 sale and you're making 2.5% commission, your commission is going to be at $12,500. Your broker is going to take 50% of that. So you're going to make $6,250. Now, that's other brokerages. At Keller Williams, most new agents start at a 70-30 split. So you make 70% of your money. The brokerage takes 30%. They did just restructure their cap. You used to have to pay like $25,000. This is different. This possibly could be different for each market center, so you can't quote me on it. But a lot of the market centers just restructured their cap. So their cap amount is way, way less now. You used to have to pay $20,000 to $30,000 to your brokerage every single year before you would earn 100% of your commission. But now in most places, it's under $15,000, which means that if you do 3, 4, 5 transactions a year, you have the availability to probably earn 100% commission in less than 2 months. So, you can cap out way faster now. So you will be able to make a lot more money a lot faster. Okay. Kimmy, it's okay that you joined late. I'm just happy you're here. Let's see. Broker percent, got it. Okay, Renee, I have your email address now. Thank you. Irving, yes, you need a physical office to be a broker. Someone asked if you have a DUI on your record, can you still be an agent? And I believe the answer is yes. I will also email you the information about what will prevent you in your background check from becoming a real estate agent. Send me your email address privately, please, if you would like that information. Kelly, you want to set up a meeting with your team leader? I can definitely make that happen. And Sammy, also, you would like, you want to meet up with your team leader? Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will make sure that you guys get that. Sorry.
Thank you.
So I have a double screen thing. I'm looking over here at the chat and you guys are over here, but I'm really, so I'm not paying attention to you. I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. Lilia says, what do we need to complete before the next class meeting? If you have already signed up for the classes and you've contacted the school and all that stuff, then that's it. That's all you have to do. The classes are not dependent upon each other. So if you don't take your final exam, if you don't take your chapter 1 and 2 quizzes, it's not like you're going to be banned from the next class. We welcome y'all no matter what. So if you're a little bit behind, it's okay. We'll still talk with you. If you have questions, I'll answer them, all that good stuff. I think that's all the questions, unless you have more. You are welcome. Will. All right. All right. So yeah, listen, as you guys sign up or whatever, I'll be adding you to my list. So you'll start getting text messages and stuff from me. So you'll have all that information. If you have questions, please, I feel like most of you should have my email address already. If you do not have my email address and you would like to maybe ask questions off of this forum, it's totally fine. Leave your email address in the chat. I save the chat afterwards and I get everybody's information, into my system over the next couple of days. So you can just send it to me privately. You don't have to send it to everybody in the world. That's fine. And then, I will get with you guys and answer your questions and all that stuff. So thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate everybody's participation. It always makes class more fun when everybody participates. Yeah, cool. So I will see you on Wednesday. Hopefully all of you, I'm looking at all you guys. I know Neil's going to be there. I can already see his face. He's interested. All right, guys. So that's it. Yeah, Renee, go sign up. Do it. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday, okay? See you guys later.